Hey, welcome to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Check out our playlist for more amazing novels and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new audiobook. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 21 Shai Makoto, Uchiha Zhili intimidates the entire clan 5/6. This technique is so powerful. I feel that during the practice, the digestion and absorption ability of Sea Kings has been greatly enhanced. Makoto exclaimed after successfully completing the practice of the health-preserving technique. She felt that her physique, vitality, and chakra had also been slightly improved. If this continued, she couldn't imagine how strong she would be in the future. How fast she would become stronger. And all of this was brought by Xuanqing. Thinking of this, Makoto looked at Xuanqing with shining eyes and said gratefully, "Thank you, little Xuanqing." "Don't worry." Xuanqing smiled and waved his hand and said, "It's also because you have reached the standard of favorability towards me, otherwise, I can't contract you." Hearing Xuanqing's mention of his favorability towards him, looking at Xuanqing's increasingly handsome face, Makoto couldn't help blushing slightly. A little embarrassed, she turned her head away from Xuanqing and said, "Don't misunderstand the favorability, we are relatives, aren't we?" Oh. Xuanqing heard it and saw her trying to cover up the truth, and said playfully, "What did I misunderstand?" "Misunderstood that you like me." Xuanqing. Makoto was immediately furious, stomped her feet, glared at Xuanqing with a flushed face, and ran out of the practice room, rushed out of Kuleha's house, and came outside. Then, she was fascinated by the snow scene outside. Xuanqing followed him out slowly. Seeing Makoto rubbing his hands and looking at the snowy scenery around him, he suddenly took out a thick cloak from the space-time gate and put it on Makoto. Then, under Makoto's shy peeping, he looked at the snow scene in the distance and said, "Isn't it beautiful? There doesn't seem to be such a snow scene in Konoha's winter, right?" "Yeah." Makoto rubbed his hands, exhaled, and his mood calmed down a little. He nodded slightly and said, "Yes. Konoha is relatively warm. Even in winter, there is only a thin layer of snow. And it lasts for a short time. In addition, Konoha is now in summer, and this side is winter. So, are the seasons in the two worlds also in different time periods?" "Not really." Xuanqing listened and shook his head directly, "It's more magical than this. The magnetic drum island where we are is the winter island. As the name suggests, the climate here is the same winter all year round, and there are no other 3 seasons." Huh. Uchiha Makoto was stunned when she heard it. There is such a place. If it's eternal winter, it's too cold and too monotonous. Is it like this in other places in the pirate world? Today's experience is amazing to her. She never thought that just coming to her aunt's house for a meal would lead to so many miraculous things. Not only did her distant cousin get better, but he also came to Otherworld. No wonder her aunt and Xuanqing are so busy recently. They must have been busy with things here recently, right? It's incredible that Xuanqing can awaken such a talent. It seems that you haven't fully digested the information I passed on to you. There is still a lot of information in this regard. Xuanqing shook his head speechlessly. Is that so? Let me see. Makoto was stunned when she heard it, and hurried to review the information she had obtained before. After a while, she came back to her senses, and stuck out her tongue at Xuanqing a little embarrassedly, and said playfully, "Sorry, it really is. It's mainly because there was too much information at once, and I didn't have time to read it all. I will digest it all later. I didn't expect that there is not only Winter Island here, but also Spring Island, Summer Island, Autumn Island, and Thunder Island. There are also Calm Belt, Red Line, Sky Island, and many other magical climates and landscapes. This is much more interesting than the ninja world. Besides, this world is so big. The ninja world seems a little inconspicuous here. Perhaps, 4 or 5 alabastas are about the same as the land area of the ninja world. And the entire pirate world does not count the sea area. All the land areas added up, there are more than hundreds of alabastas, right? Not to mention its vast sea area. About the same. Xuanqing nodded. The ninja realm was not so small at the beginning, it was much larger in the past, at least, it is the case in places full of life. It is greatly influenced by the sacred tree. Sacred tree. What is that? Makoto listened with a puzzled look. Nothing. Xuanqing stopped talking in time and shook his head and said, "You don't need to know this for the time being. I will tell you when the time comes. Makoto is not his mother. It is not good for her to know too much now, and it is meaningless." Okay. Makoto listened, but did not force it. She just kept it in her heart and hoped to get the answer from Xuanqing one day. "Okay. Let's go in. It's too cold here, it's easy to catch a cold." After watching for a while, Xuanqing called Makoto back to the practice room. Instruct her to continue practicing health-preserving exercises. At the same time, he also started practicing after meals. At present, he has allocated the number of times he practices health-preserving exercises every day after 3 meals. In order to maximize the effect. For a period of time in the future, Uchiha Makoto began to use Shadow Clone to go to school most of the time, as Xuanqing said. The original came to the pirate world to practice with Xuanqing. Strength and physique began to improve rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Let her enjoy it every day. Under such circumstances, her favorability towards Xuanqing also increased. Easily broke through 90 and steadily moved towards the full value of 100. In the ninja world, Konoha. After discussing the Uchiha reform plan with Xuanqing, Uchiha Zhili immediately held a clan meeting. He sorted out the reform matters agreed with Xuanqing and temporarily announced them in his own name. The main reason was that Xuanqing was too young at this time. If it was in Xuanqing's name, most people in the clan would not be convinced and agree. This is human nature. After explaining the reform matters, Uchiha Zhili glanced at everyone present and asked, "What do you think about this? Put it forward directly. Otherwise, after the finalization, come to trip me up, then don't blame me for turning my face against you." As he said, Uchiha Zhili's restrained momentum suddenly broke out. The Mangekyo in his left eye was also directly opened. The terrifying momentum and terrifying pupil power directly pressed on everyone present. Suddenly, everyone present felt their bodies sink, and they felt like they couldn't lift their heads and had a little difficulty breathing. Their Sharingan was forced to close. Hiss. Everyone, especially the older generation, took a breath of cold air, and looked at Uchiha Yuri with horror. "Master Yuri, is your body okay? Has your pupil power also recovered to its peak?" The third elder looked at Uchiha Yuri with disbelief and asked. Others also looked at Uchiha Yuri with astonishment, shouting in their hearts, "Impossible." They had never heard that the pupil power of Mangekyo Sharingan could be restored. Well, the pupil power here refers to the upper limit. The inability to restore the pupil power of Mangekyo Sharingan also refers to the upper limit. Every time the Mangekyo Sharingan is used, it is a kind of damage to the eyes, which will reduce the upper limit of the pupil power. In the final analysis, it is caused by damage. The eyeball and the eye meridians cannot bear the burden of Mangekyo's pupil power, and will cause almost irreversible damage to the eyeball and the eye meridians in the process of using Mangekyo Sharingan correctly. The pupil power that the eyes can carry is constantly decreasing. The pupil power that the eye meridians can transport is also constantly decreasing. This is the fundamental reason why Mangekyo Sharingan will gradually become blind and the pupil power will gradually dry up. It is not that the pupil power of Mangekyo Sharingan is fixed from the moment the eyes are opened, and it will be less and less as it is consumed. Chapter 22 Finalizing the Security Department and the Reform of the Clan, Uchiha Jiri's Family Rule, 6/6. Not bad. Uchiha Zhili was very satisfied with the reactions of the crowd, and nodded expressionlessly. "I had a little adventure, and I made a breakthrough in this research. Combined with medical skills, I created a medicine that can warm the eyeballs and eye meridians. It can repair the wear and tear of Mangekyo Sharingan. Similarly, this has a warming and strengthening effect on the eyeballs and eye meridians of all Uchiha people. In the future, I will include this medicine in the reformed merit pavilion as an exchangeable item. As long as you contribute enough to the family, you can exchange it. So, tell me your answers now. Do you agree with the reform plan I said?" Because her health has been deteriorating over the past few years, her strength has also declined a lot, and her deterrence in the clan has also declined a lot. Especially among the middle-aged and young generations. This time, she exposed her body and completely restored her pupil power in order to shock all the clan members, suppress all their opinions, and restore her deterrence. In this way, the subsequent reforms can proceed smoothly. At the same time, she also wanted to take this opportunity to let Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others know that she has recovered and put away your little tricks and thoughts, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. She is Uchiha Chiri. Ah, this. All the Uchiha ninjas present looked at each other, and the second elder spoke first. I agree. I believe that under the leadership of Chiri, these reforms will have a good effect on the development of our Uchiha. Well, it is better to say that the second elder believes in Uchiha Chiri as a person than to say that he agrees with these reform terms. His ability is beyond doubt. If it weren't for Uchiha Chiri, the Uchiha clan might have died in the civil strife. The endless turmoil of seizing other clansmen's Sharingan is resurrection coins. If Uchiha Chiri hadn't created Izanami and shocked with absolute strength, it would really be possible to lead to the extinction of the Uchiha clan. At this time, the third elder said, in principle, I agree with the reform measures of the Merit Pavilion. However, are you considering the reform of the guard team? You want to select the elites from among them to form an elite guard team separately, and conduct centralized training and regular assessments. I have no objection. This form reminds me of Anbu, which is indeed of great benefit to strengthening the strength of Uchiha. It can also free the elites in the clan from the trivial affairs of the guard team. But opening up the guard team quota to the outside world and introducing civilian ninjas and even ninjas from other families. Even, you don't hesitate to give up the position of a captain. Isn't this too much? You know, the guard team is our Uchiha's private land. Isn't this just giving up power directly? When the third elder said this, some of his clan members and some clan members from other factions nodded. Obviously, they all disagreed with opening up the guard team to the outside world and introducing outsiders. Stupid. Uchiha Yuri heard it and said coldly, didn't you understand? Is this giving up power? This is getting rid of the burden. Why did second Hokage Senju Tobarama agree to hand over the guard team to us alone? Not only to appease Uchiha, but also this is a poisoned pie. Now what I want to get rid of is the poisoned part. You should know that letting the clan members fully participate in the villagers, minor disputes and trivial matters. Not only will it not benefit me Uchiha, it will also ruin our Uchiha's popularity and make all the villagers, and even many large and small families, hate us more and more. From the development of these years, isn't this obvious enough? When we first built the village, although we didn't have many allies and friendly families, we at least had some, but now. Ask yourself, do you still have it? Don't tell me that we Uchiha don't need allies or friends. It's a pity that you still want Uchiha to produce a Hokage. Without the support and recognition of the villagers and many ninja clans, can we win the position of Hokage by ourselves? Even if we seize the position of Hokage by absolute force, are you sure you can sit firmly in that position? We Uchiha are strong, but can we be stronger than the whole village? After hearing this, the three elders and others lowered their heads slightly, and their faces looked a little ugly. But they couldn't refute it, because what Uchiha Zhili said was right. Uchiha Zhili continued, in short, the reform of the guard team is unquestionable. Throw away those trivial and offensive trivial matters to civilian ninjas who are willing to join the guard team, or ninjas from small families. Throw away a captain position to the person in charge of these trivial matters. We won't leave easily. We are just judges to review the more important matters submitted. Is there any problem? Everyone, including the three elders, shook their heads after hearing this. This is indeed a good thing. Killing two birds with one stone. Photographed in Uchiha. With Chiri's prestige and the possibility of competing for the Hokage in the future, even the third elder said nothing more and chose to support. At this time, the fourth elder couldn't help but say, Master Chiri, I have no problem with everything else, and I even agree with your clan's study plan. But, aren't there too many classes? Aren't the benefits too good? This is a preschool class, after-school tutoring classes, Genin Chunin intensive classes, and even Jonin exchange classes. The manpower, material resources and various resources required are huge. Even with the family's foundation and accumulation, it can't last too long. Should we reduce it appropriately? He saw that Master Chiri was ambitious to comprehensively improve the strength of the family's ninjas. He wanted to fully support it, but he also had to focus on practical considerations. It is indeed very expensive. The second elder nodded after hearing this, but then changed the subject and said, "But I believe that Lord Zhili cannot have not considered this point. I think you should have a solution, right?" As he said this, everyone present looked at Uchiha Zhili expectantly. If the problem of cost can really be solved, they are naturally willing to support it. This is related to the welfare and strength improvement of all of them. No one is stupid. Of course, Uchiha Zhili did not disappoint them, and nodded affirmatively. "You don't have to worry about the funds. I am already preparing some high-value and rare goods. When it is complete, I will start selling it to obtain the necessary funds." In addition to the gold of the Golden City, Uchiha Zhili is also ready to resell the shells of Sky Island. Sell the super ration pills and nutrition pills that Xuanqing improved with Sea King's meat. Of course, the effect has to be weakened, and each nutrient pill contains less Sea King's meat. It only needs to be 30% better than any other nutrient pill on the market. In addition, Xuanqing can also create a popular version of a body conditioning potion, similar to the conditioning potion that Kuleha configured for her in Xuanqing. Well, it is enough to weaken the efficacy by 90%. There are even more good things to sell to get funds. But Uchiha Zhili thinks that just these are enough. Even if it is not for fear of suspicion, the gold in the Golden City alone is enough for the Uchiha clan to consume for many years. Funds still have to have a reasonable source. Chapter 23. The boiling excitement of civilian ninjas and small clan ninjas, the headache of the third generation, 1/6. I see. The fourth elder and others suddenly realized it after hearing this. So this is the solution. Then they will have no problem. They immediately expressed their full support for the reform of Uchiha Zhili. Soon, the Uchiha clan began to act according to the arrangement of Uchiha Zhili. Uchiha Zhili temporarily handed over the clan school to the second and fourth elders to prepare. The matter of the guard team was handed over to the third elder to adjust. First, select and form an elite guard team and adjust the guard team structure. The first team will be responsible for accepting and hearing more important cases in the future. The second team is responsible for the guard team prison. The third team is responsible for ordinary civil disputes and is also a team that is ready to open to the outside world. 2 days later, the Uchiha Guard Brigade headquarters was adjusted inside and outside. And a huge public notice board was set up outside. It posted matters related to the reform of the guard team and recruitment information. Even the treatment was listed, which was quite good. Without risking their lives to carry out missions, they only need to patrol the village, mediate some disputes and illegal and irregular behaviors, and they can easily get a good salary. Isn't this much better than going out on missions to fight for their lives? In order to spread the word, Uchiha Zhili also asked the three elders to post the information about the reform and recruitment of the guard on the public notice board in front of the Hokage building. It was soon noticed by some civilian ninjas and ninjas from small families in Konoha. And the news spread at a very fast speed. For a time, many civilian ninjas and ninjas from small families talked about it. The reform of the Guard Corps, and the opening of a squadron quota for the outside world. Is this true? Hasn't the Guard Corps always been the Uchiha's private domain, and outsiders are not allowed to interfere? Why choose to start recruiting outsiders now? Who knows? Maybe there are not enough people. I heard from the neighbors that there are fewer Uchiha people patrolling these days, and many disputes are ignored. Is this true? Really? Although I don't know what happened, I heard about it. Maybe there have never been enough people. After all, how much has the village expanded over the years? How much has the population increased? The Guard Corps should have been short of people long ago. Hey, you are still discussing here. Why don't you hurry up and sign up? This is a good opportunity. If you are late, it may be full. I'll go first. Hey, wait for me, I'm going too. Let's go together. Let's go together. Hey, no, are you really going? That's the Guard Corps, the Uchiha Guard Corps, are you sure it's okay? Uchiha is not easy to get along with. You know nothing. Although Uchiha looks arrogant and difficult to get along with, who doesn't know that Uchiha is actually cold-faced but warm-hearted, strong and reliable? Wait for me. Quote. For a while, more and more civilian ninjas and ninjas from small families began to rush to the headquarters of the guard. Even some members of the side branches of medium and large ninja clans began to take action. Originally, the abnormality of the guard in the past few days has been noticed by the third generation. Now, the guard is even more blatantly posting notices of reform and recruitment in front of the Hokage building. It is difficult for the third generation not to know. At this time, in the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura are all here. Uchiha really made a big thing this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know whether to be happy or have a headache at this time. Uchiha is willing to open up the guard to the outside world. This is good news. It is also a good thing. It means that they are truly beginning to integrate into the village. At the same time, it also means that the village has the opportunity to infiltrate and interfere with the guard, and further understand the guard and even Uchiha's every move. But this will also destroy some of the plans that the second generation had made against Uchiha. From the terms of the reform, it can be seen that there are people in Uchiha who have something. The purpose of the second generation is to get rid of the poison in the poison pie and eat all the remaining benefits. Uchiha Zhili. She is worthy of being a hero who quelled the Uchiha civil strife with one person. It's really amazing. It seems that the rumor that her body has completely recovered and returned to the peak is likely to be true. The third generation took a few puffs of dry tobacco and sighed worriedly. Because Uchiha Zhili did not deliberately keep it secret or deliberately let people leak it. The third generation naturally knew that she had returned to the peak. In fact, even if Uchiha Zhili did not deliberately let people leak it, there were a small number of people in Uchiha who were brainwashed by the third generation. This is inevitable. At least, this is the case at this stage. Uchiha Zhili and Xuanqing have also discussed this. In the future, they will use the characteristics of the space-time gate to counter it and isolate all the secrets from these people. Before they are strong enough to overturn the table, they use these people to release some modified news to confuse the third generation. When they have the strength to overturn the table, they will forcefully eliminate these people, purify the Uchiha, and then control Konoha and even the ninja world. Hiruzen, you are still smoking here. This is like an ant on a hot pot. Stop the Uchiha's behavior. We can't let them ruin the plan made by the teacher. Uchiha Kaharu saw the third generation like this and couldn't help complaining. Yes, Mitokado Homura also nodded and said, if they really succeed in this, then the reputation of Uchiha will be improved in the future, and they will probably covet the position of Hokage even more. This is what we all don't want to see, right? The third generation listened and shook their heads helplessly. The security department is monopolized by Uchiha. Even as a Hokage, I can't organize their reforms. And, don't you see? This is an open conspiracy. At this time, many civilian ninjas and ninjas from small and medium-sized families have rushed to the headquarters of the security force to sign up. The positions and treatment of the security force are very tempting to many ninjas. If we force Uchiha to reform like this, we will undoubtedly stand on the opposite side of these people. At that time, it will only be more ugly. He can't lose the support of the people. Swish. At this time, the door of the office was opened, and Danzo walked in aggressively, saying, Hiruzen is right. We can't organize this matter, and there is no need to organize it. In fact, we'd better take the initiative to participate and get a share of the pie. By the way, take the opportunity to add some sand to the security team and prepare for the step-by-step erosion of the security team in the future. In the past, they were stubbornly holding on to the power of my security team, and we couldn't infiltrate and seize power. But now that Uchiha has taken the initiative to open up this power to the outside world, it means that the security team is no longer the private domain of a family. Even if there is no way to completely seize power in the short term, there will always be opportunities in the future. As long as the opening is made, the final result will not be up to Uchiha himself. Danzo. You actually agree too. Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura turned their heads to look at Danzo, and they were all stunned when they heard his words. But they also have to admit that what Danzo said makes sense. This may be an opportunity. The guards at this time are not the guards of the future Fugaku era. Many powers such as trial, imprisonment, arrest, patrol of Konoha, are still intact. It would be strange if Danzo and his friends were not jealous. Chapter 24. Danzo's counterplot, third generation, we can outlast Uchiha Zhili 2/6. Of course. Danzo said as a matter of course. Hiruzen also said that this is an open conspiracy. Direct opposition will definitely not work. Naturally, we can only go with the flow and wait for an opportunity to seize the initiative. I have sent some root ninjas and some Shimura clan ninjas to sign up. I believe we can get some places. You can also send some clan ninjas to sign up. Try to occupy all the places in this brigade, then, this brigade will be under our control. We can completely rely on this brigade to gradually erode the authority of the guard, and at the same time, use the name of the guard to further ruin the reputation of Uchiha and make them more infamous. Don't they want to get rid of their bad reputation? Danzo just doesn't let them have their way. You can't take up all the places. At this time, the third generation shook his head and rejected it. This matter has been widely publicized and known by countless civilian ninjas and ninjas from small and medium-sized ninja clans. Many of them have signed up. Not to mention whether Uchiha is willing to choose all our people. Even if they are willing, we can't do this. Otherwise, everyone will understand that this is our handiwork. Those civilian ninjas and ninjas from small and medium-sized ninja clans who can't get positions will probably transfer their anger and resentment to us. He won't do such a thing that will bring trouble to himself. Danzo is still as rough as ever. Danzo listened and said disdainfully, they are just some civilian ninjas and people from small ninja clans, what's there to care about? At worst, we can blame Uchiha and say that Uchiha deliberately tried to please us. The three members of the third generation listened and looked at Danzo speechlessly. Do you want to listen to what you are saying? Mitokado Homura complained. As we all know, Uchiha has a bad relationship with us. Who would believe that they would please us? Hiruzen just said that the choice of candidates is in Uchiha, not in ours. Danzo, don't think about it. That's right. Uchiha Kaharu also nodded speechlessly. Danzo's brain can always come up with some tricks that hurt others and benefit themselves, and they are used to it. Danzo frowned and looked at the third generation and said, Hiruzen, can't you call Uchiha Zhili in your name and let her give in? He still didn't want to give up. This is a good opportunity to erode the power of Uchiha and expand his roots and power. What a pity to miss it. His goal is not only to attack Uchiha, he also wants to replace the third generation and become Hokage. In his opinion, if he had not spoken a step later than the third generation, the position of Hokage would definitely be his. The third generation was even more speechless after hearing this. That's Uchiha Zhili, and she has already recovered her peak. I don't believe you didn't get this news. Are you sure she will compromise with us and listen to us? Didn't you notice that some of our tricks against Uchiha have been wiped out by her recently? Be rational. You can send people, and choose as many as you can. There's still a long time to go. We'll just take it slow. Uchiha Zhili's age and health are there. Even if she recovers to her peak in the short term, I don't believe she can live longer than us. When she dies, things will be much simpler. Over the years, we can completely influence and support an Uchiha we think is suitable to become the head of the Uchiha clan in the future. They don't need a strong Uchiha head like Uchiha Zhili. A weaker Uchiha head who knows how to compromise is a good head. That's the only way. Danzo frowned and reluctantly said. That's it. I'm leaving first. After saying that, Danzo left in a hurry. The third generation members looked at each other in bewilderment. Let's act quickly and let some of the tribesmen submit their applications. I hope some of them can be selected. The third generation immediately said to Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. Okay. Immediately, the three of them started to act. The next day, at the guard headquarters, the third elder handed the compiled application list to Uchiha Zhili and said, Master Zhili, the list is here. There are more than 1,000 people who have signed up, including Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo Yoshito's clansmen, as well as some people from the Root and Anbu. What should we do with these people? Eliminate them all directly. No need. Uchiha Zhili shook his head. Most of them will be civilian ninjas or people from small and medium-sized ninja clans. Divide by block, select a group of ninjas nearby. Then you can let them be responsible for the area near their homes. As neighbors, it will be much easier to mediate civil disputes and reduce unnecessary conflicts. Pay attention to clearly plan and sort out the patrol areas of each team. However, most of the team leaders and squadron leaders of these teams can be arranged by the Shimura clan, the Sarutobi clan, Midodora, and even the people who switched them came to the family. The three elders listened, frowned, and hesitated. When they will be the police team, if they will act under the name of Uchiha, they deliberately corrupt our Uchiha's reputation. How can it be so simple? Who is willing to believe that they are Uchiha? Who wants to believe that they are doing business for Uchiha? People's hearts are the most uncontrollable. Furthermore, we can set up an inspection department in the 2nd Brigade to secretly monitor and record the law enforcement of the 3rd Brigade. And, secretly and continuously spread the true identities of these people and transfer the public grievances back again. Even, we can post the records of these people's violations of rules and regulations on the public notice board and report them for criticism. Remember to write down their origins when the time comes. You have a siege plan, and I have a ladder to climb over the wall. It depends on whose means are more clever. Master Zhili is smart. I will do it later. The 3rd elder heard it and immediately smiled and gave Uchiha Zhili a thumbs up. This is a good trick. Well, that's it. After Uchiha Zhili personally selected a group of people, he especially noticed a man named Might Dai Genin mentioned by Xuanqing, and selected him as well. Then he handed the list to the 3rd elder and instructed, I have selected a part, you can choose the rest. Remember to make sure that civilians and small and medium-sized ninjas occupy the majority. Take care of as many small and medium-sized ninjas as possible. This is also an opportunity for us to contact and make friends with these small and medium-sized ninjas, and even civilian ninjas. Don't mess it up. For everything, preparation is the key to success, otherwise it will be wasted. It is necessary to prepare in advance. Yes. The 3rd elder quickly took the list and agreed. Uchiha Zhili then got up and left. The next morning, the list of the 3rd Brigade was announced. Also announced at the same time were the detailed rules for the division of patrol areas and detailed law enforcement rules and regulations for the members of the security team. The selected people were very happy. And the unselected people were very disappointed. Chapter 25, Trading with Uzumaki Mito. The feasibility and pros and cons of becoming Tsunade's apprentice 3/6. On that day, after leaving the security department and returning home, Uchiha Zhili left a shadow clone at home and went directly to Xuanqing in the pirate world. He told Xuanqing in detail about his arrangements and the process in the past few days. Do you have any additional comments or opinions? By the way, when selecting members of the security team, I specially selected Might Dai. I remember you said that he has a good character and a high talent for physical skills. He is a good fighter, right? Uchiha Zhili asked. No, Mom, you've done a great job. 2 words, hockey. Xuanqing smiled and gave Uchiha Zhili a thumbs up, then said, as for Might Dai, this is enough for now. Later, you can find an opportunity to show him favor, help him adjust his body, give him some physical training resources, etc. I'll do these when my body is fully recovered and I'll shift my focus back to the village, come in person. This will make it easier for me to improve his favorability. People like him, if you sign a contract early, you can increase your investment with confidence. Even, you can bring him to the pirate world and use the resources here to accelerate his growth in physical skills. With his talent and perseverance, it is estimated that it will take only a few years for him to grow into a Kage level or even stronger existence. The pirate world is too suitable for a physical skills genius like Might Dai. Okay. Just do as you say. Uchiha Zhili nodded in understanding, without any objection. Suddenly remembering something, he continued, by the way, the clan has been spending money quickly due to reforms recently, so we have to open up new sources of income as soon as possible. Sky Island cannot be relied on for the time being, so you should get the nutrient pills out as soon as possible. Remember to weaken the effect a little more, 30% better than the best formula of the clan's ration pills is enough. In addition, you can make a weakened version of the conditioning potion with a 10% effect based on the conditioning formula that Kuleha gave us. All of these can be sold for money, what do you think? Yeah. Uchiha Xuanqing nodded affirmatively, no problem. These are all trivial matters, and they will be ready the day after tomorrow. Not only these 2 pills and potions, Konoha's super nutrient potion and body building potion will also be ready soon. By then, I can also make a super weakened version of each for sale. Believe me, there will be no problem selling them. The medical skills and potion industry in the Hokage world, do you think it's advanced? It's also quite advanced. If you say it's backward, it's also very backward. Especially in terms of potions and elixirs. This is okay. Uchiha Yuri's eyes lit up when he heard this. These 2 must be easy to sell. You can make money without worrying about enriching your enemies. By the way, I'm going to meet with Uzumaki Mito in the near future and try to form an alliance with her to check and restrict Sarutobi Hiruzen and let them. Can you make a potion that replenishes vitality and is relatively mild? If you can, how long will it take? Uchiha Yuri asked again. Replenish vitality. Uchiha Xuanqing listened, touched his chin and pondered. In fact, whether it is the conditioning potion we take, the Sea King's meat we eat, or the nutritional pills and super nutritional potions we are creating, they all have this function. Uzumaki Mito's situation is a bit special. I need to see her situation in person before I can give you an accurate answer and solution. If it doesn't work, the 100% nutritional pills made from Sea King's meat in the world will definitely work. It will just require a certain amount. He only judged the situation of Jinchuriki like Uzumaki Mito based on some memory information from his previous life, which cannot be completely counted. Is that so? Uchiha Yuri listened, pondered for a moment and decided, okay. Then you can accompany me to meet her. How about the time when you are completely well? This is more convincing. Otherwise, Xuanqing himself is sick, and saying that there is a way to solve the problem of Uzumaki Mito will be greatly reduced, which will increase the difficulty of negotiation. Uchiha Yuri currently only wants to deal with Uzumaki Mito while exposing as few secrets of Xuanqing as possible. As for exposing some of Xuanqing's medical talents and abilities, this may not be a bad thing. Perhaps, you can take this opportunity to learn all the medical skills and medical ninjutsu that Tsunade has mastered from her. Uchiha Yuri looked at Xuanqing and blinked. Hee, that's what I was planning too. Uchiha Xuanqing grinned. We can add this as a condition of the deal when the time comes. I am still very interested in the medical skills of the ninja world, especially Tsunade's. If I can integrate the medical skills of the ninja world, my medical skills will definitely be able to go further and gain greater benefits. In addition, perhaps, I can take this opportunity to become Tsunade's apprentice and get closer to Tsunade and others. Get closer to the Senju. At the same time, I can temporarily get the identity of a Hokage's direct descendant to facilitate my future growth and actions in the village. It will be convenient for me to become a Hokage in the future and control Konoha. Well, even Tsunade is not impossible to completely take down. Tisk tisk, you kid are thinking of bad things. Uchiha Zhili saw the change in Xuanqing's expression and teased with a smile. Ahem, not true. Xuanqing quickly suppressed his inner voice, denied it repeatedly, and forced to change the subject. Mom, just tell me if this plan is good or not. Mom. Uchiha Yuri raised her eyebrows when she heard this new name, and then frowned, stretched out her hands, pulled Xuanqing's cheeks on both sides, and stretched them. Said the coldest words in the most gentle voice, so Mom is already old in your eyes. Alas, it seems that little Xuanqing no longer loves Mom. Hate Mom. Xuanqing was shocked, and waved his hands repeatedly to argue. No. No see, broken voice, whoa fac. Mom, you are always beautiful and young, I made a mistake. Please let me go. At this time, Xuanqing felt helpless. Sure enough, as long as she is a woman, she will care about her age and appearance. The ancients never lied to me. HMPH. You're smart. I'll let you go this time, but it won't be so easy next time. Xuanqing-chan. Uchiha Yuri heard this and then let go of her hand, warning with a smile. Yes, yes, yes. Xuanqing rubbed her red cheeks with her hands and nodded repeatedly to promise, I won't dare to do it again. Okay. Uchiha Yuri waved her hands with satisfaction and said, this matter is settled. Try to develop a suitable drug to treat Uzumaki Mito before you fully recover. Then we can take the initiative. A living Uzumaki Mito who becomes an ally of Uchiha is more in the interests of Uchiha. With Uzumaki Mito, she can still clamp down on the third generation to a certain extent. Without her, the mountain pressing on the third generation will be completely gone. The Senju will also be completely finished. At that time, the third generation will definitely find a way to swallow up all the assets, ninjutsu, and other heritage of the Senju and even the Uzumaki, and become rich overnight and their strength will soar. After that, the Uchiha will become their #1 enemy and target. This is not what Uchiha Yuri wants to see. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Chapter 26 Uchiha Zhili arrives at Gaia Island, Tsunade's doubts 4/6. How can we let the third generation relax and do whatever they want? We have to give them more trouble so that they can't spare all their energy to target Uchiha. In this way, Uchiha can get more time for stable development. No problem. Leave it to me. Uchiha Xuanqing listened and patted his chest to agree. Okay. That's it. Uchiha Zhili nodded. Mom will continue to run the map. I'm almost at Gaia Island. I should be able to complete this task today. Then it's Logue Town. Unfortunately, we haven't found a suitable flying ninja beast to land on Sky Island yet, so we can only wait. Otherwise, the financial pressure will be gone in an instant. Although gold is not convenient to use directly as currency. But it can be exchanged for current currency at the gold in the Fire City, which is very simple. Don't worry. It's a matter of time. If you don't believe it, you can find such a flying beast in the pirate world. Mom, you can pay attention to this information when you run the map. Xuanqing reminded. That's right. Uchiha Yuri's eyes lit up after hearing this. I'll pay attention. Let's go. Bye. After that, Uchiha Yuri teleported away from here. Half a day later. Is this Gaia Island? It's really chaotic. As soon as he landed on Gaia Island, Uchiha Yuri felt a lot of malicious and inquiring eyes coming from all directions of the island. It's worthy of being a pirate island. Let's go shopping first. Open more maps to make it easier for Xuanqing to find a stable place to stay later. Otherwise, it will be more dangerous with his strength. Thinking of this, Uchiha Yuri didn't rush to land, and simply drove the boat around Gaia Island. The pirates on the island were a little surprised. Some of them temporarily gave up the plan to resist Uchiha Yuri, and some began to finally. Uchiha Yuri has awakened his observation haki, and his observation haki is growing stronger and stronger, so he naturally sees the actions of these people. A cold light flashed in her eyes, and she murmured, "You are really courting death." A group of little pirates dared to pay attention to her, and they were ready to die. Not long after, Uchiha Zhili drove the boat around a beach in the north of Gaia Island. She jumped ashore, then stretched out her hand and pressed on her boat, and put the boat into the space-time gate space with a thought. This was also the authority given to her by Zhangqing. A 10,000 cubic meter storage space was specially allocated for her in the space-time gate space. It was specially given to Uchiha Zhili for use. It was convenient for her to collect some items, supplies and the like. Uchiha Makoto naturally had some too. Anyway, the space of the space-time gate was enough, with an area of 10 kilometers and a height of more than 10 kilometers. It could hold too many things. Moreover, this space would continue to increase as his strength increased. In the future, it was unknown whether it would develop into a real world. Quick. There. Haha. He couldn't resist landing. She's a beautiful woman, maybe she can be sold for a good price. What to sell? Wouldn't it be better to keep it for the boss? Quote. At this time, a burst of hurried footsteps and arrogant voices came from the forest not far away. Uchiha looked over with a frown. Soon, a group of pirates rushed out of the forest. Seeing that Uchiha Yuri did not escape, they were overjoyed and rushed towards her frantically. Fire-style great fire extinguishing. The next moment, Uchiha Yuri quickly completed the seal, leaned over slightly and sprayed fire-style at the pirates rushing towards them. In an instant, the area hundreds of meters ahead was instantly covered by terrifying high-temperature flames. The entire flame covered in a fan shape, covering all the chasing pirates. Ah, no. Then, screams rang out one after another, but soon subsided. When Uchiha Zhili sensed that there was no more life in the area covered by fire style, he stopped chakra output. The flames slowly extinguished, revealing the glassy ground and dozens of charcoal. Then, Uchiha Zhili was satisfied to perform body flicker technique and disappeared here. It took more than 10 minutes to scour most of the entire Gaia Island. In order not to cause unnecessary trouble, she also used the transformation technique to avoid many ears and eyes. Well, almost done, can go back. After inspecting some shops in the town of Gaia Island and not seeing anything that caught her eye, she found an empty corner and teleported away directly. In the ninja world, in a courtyard in the Senju clan. Grandma, you don't know that the changes made by the Uchiha clan this time are very bold. They are willing to open the security department and even create an elite security team. Tsunade learned about the news that Uchiha reformed the security department. After returning home, she told her grandmother Uzumaki Mito about it. It feels like this is not something that the Uchiha in the past could do. After all, they have always regarded the authority of the security department as private property, which is extremely important and does not allow outsiders to interfere at all. I don't know what's wrong this time. Tsunade shook her head in confusion, unable to figure it out. Yeah, I've received the news too. Uzumaki Mito listened and nodded. Monkey has come to tell me about this. Huh, teacher. Tsunade listened and was slightly stunned, puzzled. Why did he come to you to talk about this? Does he want you to stop it or something? Not to stop it. Uzumaki Mito shook her head. This is a good opportunity to intervene in the security department, how could Monkey miss it? He can't see through the fundamental reason why Uchiha did this, and wants me to meet Uchiha Zhili and test her attitude. Especially he received news from Uchiha inside. Uchiha Zhili seems to have suddenly returned to her peak. Monkey is nervous. Of course, the third generation also told Uzumaki Mito that Uchiha might destroy the policy originally formulated by the second generation to isolate Uchiha and make the villagers hate Uchiha. Uzumaki Mito did not comment on this. Because she never approved of Tobirama's original policy. Doing so is unfair to Uchiha. It will only push Uchiha further away, and eventually, it will cause big problems, and Konoha will be the only one who suffers. Unfortunately, the third generation obviously won't listen. So, Uzumaki Mito only mentioned this briefly and didn't say anything more. But she did agree to meet with Uchiha Zhili. Not to find out any secrets of Uchiha from him, but simply to see if Uchiha Zhili has really recovered. If so, is it possible for her to extend her life with his help? She is not afraid of death, but simply because she is worried about Tsunade, Naoki and Kushina, and the Senju clan that has almost been disbanded. She hasn't arranged everything yet. With her wisdom, it is not difficult to see that the third generation has used some suppression and testing methods against Senju, Uchiha and other large clans in recent years. She was like this when she was alive, and it was hard for her to imagine what kind of cruel things the third generation would do to the Senju if she died. Chapter 27. Uzumaki Mito breaks Tsunade's naivety and filter for the third generation 5/6. Alas, I am getting old and will not live long. In addition, the monkey's position as Hokage is getting more and more stable, and his power is growing. In the past few years, my deterrent power has declined greatly. Uzumaki Mito lamented in his heart. Grandma, what's wrong with you? Why are you so sad all of a sudden? Tsunade noticed that Uzumaki Mito's mood suddenly became low, as if he was worried. Uzumaki Mito listened, looked up at Tsunade, reached out and touched her head and lamented, Tsunade, Grandma won't live for many years. When can you really mature, take charge of the Senju? Tsunade didn't know why she felt upset after listening to it. She quickly grabbed her grandma's hand and said with concern, Grandma, what are you talking about? You will live 100 years. Hee. Uzumaki Mito listened and smiled helplessly. Live 100 years. Ninjas don't live that long. Ninja. It's a short-lived profession. It's a twisted profession. Your great-grandfather, who has strong vitality and strength, died young, let alone me. In fact, if it weren't for the profession of ninja, with your great-grandfather's vitality, he should have been able to live 100 years, but it's a pity. The more a ninja fights, the more he squeezes himself. The shorter his life will be. Tsunade felt sad after hearing this. As a powerful medical ninja, she knew this. But if a ninja wants to survive, he must constantly extract chakra. It is inevitable that his lifespan will be squeezed. Forget it. I won't tell you this anymore. Mito saw that Tsunade's face was also confused, so she immediately stopped the topic and warned. Anyway, you are not young anymore, you should learn to be mature. Before Naoki grows up and can't take up the responsibility of Senju, you have to take this burden for him first, understand? To be honest, she is not optimistic that Naoki will be able to take up the responsibility of Senju in the future. Because this child's character is a little too naive, even more naive than Hashirama back then. Unfortunately, he does not have Hashirama's talent, and there is no Tobirama to assist him. At present, she can only hope that Tsunade, as a sister, can help Naoki take on some responsibilities. This, I understand, I will. Tsunade clenched his fists, and then asked in confusion, but, don't we have teachers in the village? It's not a big problem, right? Stupid. Uzumaki Mito laughed angrily. Sarutobi Hiruzen is not only your teacher, but also the Hokage of Konoha, and the head of the Sarutobi clan. At the beginning, he accepted you as a disciple just to win over the Senju and me, in order to secure the position of Hokage. Do you really think he is interested in your talent? In his heart, the interests of the Sarutobi clan are the most important, followed by Konoha, and then the families of Danzo, Udatane Kaharu and Mitokado Homura. After that, it will not be the Senju, but Inoshikacho or other small and medium-sized ninja clans or even civilian ninjas he has won over. He has been secretly suppressing the people in the past few years. Senju-led ninja clan, didn't you notice these? Quote. How can I trust you to hand over the Senju clan to you? How can I die peacefully? She was really angry. I hate iron for not being able to make steel. In front of their own interests, the teacher-student relationship is not important at all. Quote. Quote. Tsunade was stunned when she heard this, and her three views were shaken violently, and the filter of the third generation was shattered. How could this be? Tsunade murmured in disbelief. Uzumaki Mito said unhappily, why not? Think about it carefully, the development of the clan in these years, isn't everything obvious? Originally, she didn't want to break Tsunade's fantasy because she was dying. In this way, even if she left, relying on her teacher-student relationship with the third generation and her innocence and trust in the third generation, her future would be safer. But the recent changes of Uchiha and Uchiha Zhili gave her other ideas. She felt that she and the Senju and Uzumaki could not continue to give in and sit back and wait for death. Perhaps, a secret alliance with Uchiha would be a good idea. Uzumaki Mito couldn't help thinking. Tsunade heard Uzumaki Mito's words, breaking the naive and third-generation filter, and recalled some of the behaviors of the clan and even the third generation in the past, and suddenly saw many inappropriate things that she had ignored in the past. Her face soon became extremely ugly. I didn't expect it to be like this. The old man has bad intentions. It's good that you understand. Uzumaki Mito's face looked better. Tsunade was a little at a loss and said, then what should I do next, Grandma? Let's talk about it after I meet Uchiha Zhili. Remember to be there when the time comes. Uzumaki Mito shook his head and decided. Okay. Tsunade did not refuse. Since he couldn't find the direction, he would see what Grandma did. Although she didn't know why her grandmother was so worried. Hey, I don't want to force you. It's just that the situation is getting worse for us. Uzumaki Mito saw Tsunade's worried look, and said with some pity, there has been some bad news from the Uzumaki clan recently. Various signs show that the other four major ninja villages have been eyeing the matter of Jinchuriki and the sealing technique. Recently, there have been many spies from other ninja villages in the Whirlpool country, and it is obvious that they have bad intentions. What? Tsunade was shocked when she heard it. Then what should we do? Does the old man know? How is the village going to respond? Will it send people to help the Uzumaki clan? At the end, she remembered the true face of her teacher that her grandmother had just said. Her tone became a little uncertain. Because, she vaguely felt that her teacher might not be willing to rescue the Uzumaki clan for his own benefit. Even, a destroyed Uzumaki clan might be the most beneficial to her teacher. Because, not only will she have a chance to get the legacy of the Uzumaki clan, but she will also greatly weaken the Senju clan. She didn't notice the existence of the filter in the past. Now that the filter is broken, she realizes that the Senju clan has been weakened too much during the years when her teacher was in power. When her second grandfather was still alive, the Senju clan was still the largest ninja clan in Konoha and even in the ninja world. What about now? The glory of the Senju is long gone. Most of the branch clans have been integrated into the civilian population. Moreover, many of these clansmen have gradually lost contact, and many have died in various missions. Even the direct descendants have died or been injured, and only 1 in 10 survives. Senju is on the verge of destruction. Uzumaki Mito has been paying attention to Tsunade's expression. Seeing her like this, she said in a deep voice, "It seems that you have figured it out. Don't expect the monkey and the village to really help you with this matter. At most, they will take advantage of the situation and make a profit. Originally, I wanted to persuade the Uzumaki clan to move to Konoha. But Uzumaki Amanari is unwilling. I can't persuade him, so I can only give up this method. Prepare to send the direct line of the Senju clan and some branches that are still closely connected to form an elite force to support in the near future. And this may reduce the last foundation and strength of the Senju. But I have to do this. I can't sit back and watch the Uzumaki clan be destroyed." Chapter 28. Tsunade's growth is the key to breaking the game, the Uchiha's governance. 6/6. Tsunade was hesitant to speak after hearing this. She also felt her grandmother's embarrassment and pain. For a moment, her dissatisfaction with her teacher was directly overflowing, and even began to turn into hatred. If it weren't for her teacher's selfishness, how could her grandmother, her family, and the Uzumaki clan be forced to this extent? Tsunade took a deep breath, and her mind began to become clearer than ever before. Considering what Uzumaki Mito said before, her expression slightly condensed, trying to understand the key. She turned to look at her grandmother and said, "So, Grandma, you have seen the recent changes in Uchiha, especially Uchiha Zhili, and have other ideas. Are you ready to unite with Uchiha to save Uzumaki, save Senju, and fight against the new Hokage interest group headed by the 3rd generation?" Oh. Hearing this, Uzumaki Mito looked at Tsunade with burning eyes, and said with some relief, "It seems that you are completely awake. I have this idea, but everything has to wait until I meet Uchiha Zhili and test her ideas before I can decide. I hope this thing can be done. If it can be done, the future days of Senju and even Uzumaki will be much better. Moreover, this matter is also extremely beneficial to Uchiha. This is a win-win situation. She now knows too well that Sarutobi, Hiruzen and the other 4 will not only target Senju for their own interests and power, but will also spare no effort to suppress all the great ninja clans. After Senju, it is Uchiha. After Uchiha, it is Hyuga, Ino Shika Cho, Inazuka clan, Aburame clan, and so on. One day, all the great ninja clans that are stronger than them and not under their control will be suppressed. When the Sarutobi clan becomes the strongest ninja clan in Konoha, and even the whole Konoha becomes Sarutobi village, this kind of suppression may be slowed down or even stopped. This is the biggest disadvantage of the small clan replacing the big clan as Hokage. In the past, neither she nor Tobirama could see through this. This led to the disaster. Yeah, Tsunade listened and nodded heavily, then let's talk about it after meeting Uchiha. I hope it will work. Right. Suddenly, Tsunade thought of the news that Uchiha Zhili had recovered from her peak. Looked at her grandmother with some surprise and said, "Grandma, Uchiha Zhili can recover from her peak, maybe she can also help you recover from her peak. Even if she can't help you recover from your peak, it should be okay to extend your life a little bit, right? She seemed to have asked you to check her body a few years ago. I remember you said that the source of life and soul were damaged, right? This situation is much worse than yours. You also shortened your life because you need to continuously consume vitality and chakra to maintain the seal by sealing the tailed beast, which leads to excessive consumption of vitality, right? Since Uchiha Zhili's method can restore her to her peak, it can definitely restore you to your peak, right? After thinking this through, Tsunade finally saw some hope. Since the filter of the third generation was broken, and she knew the difficulties and obstacles that the Senju and the Vortex would face in the future, she was under great pressure. She felt like she couldn't breathe. This was not something she could bear at her age. But if her grandmother could live another 10 or 20 years or even longer, then she wouldn't have to carry these heavy burdens herself. She could just play a supporting role and help out. This would be much easier. After 10 or 20 years, Naoki would have been an adult. By then, this heavy burden could be handed over to Naoki. After all, he was the future head of the Senju clan, so he should bear the responsibilities of the head, right? She was just a weak woman, and she really shouldn't bear these excessive burdens. Maybe, Uzumaki Mito still can't see Tsunade's thoughts. But if she can really live for another 10 or 20 years, she doesn't mind helping Tsunade share the burden for a few more years. At the same time, strengthen the training of Naoki. So, I said that everything will be discussed after meeting Uchiha Zhili. Only when we are sure that she has fully recovered and the recovery method she has mastered is not unique, our subsequent ideas can be realized. Later, please send an invitation to Uchiha Zhili for me and invite her to come to my house in the near future. As she said, Uzumaki Mito took out an invitation from her arms and handed it to Tsunade. Okay, I'll go now. Tsunade quickly took the invitation and left quickly. Not long after, Tsunade rushed to Uchiha Zhili's home, met Uchiha Zhili himself, explained his purpose, and handed over the invitation. Oh, Uchiha Yuri heard Tsunade's words, opened the invitation and read it through, and raised his eyebrows slightly. Kaido, I already understand your intention. I agree to meet you. But I'm not free in the next half-month. Wait for 20 days. I will bring my son Xuanqing to visit at that time. If nothing unexpected happens, you should be able to get what you want at that time. That's it. The content on the invitation is not much, but Uchiha Yuri still saw the hidden temptation in it. Understand Uzumaki Mito's idea of extending his life. This is really what I thought. It seems that Uzumaki Mito is not stupid, and he is not a person who sits and waits for death. I think the transaction will go smoothly at that time, hee. Uchiha Yuri thought happily in his heart. 20 days later. Tsunade frowned slightly after hearing this. Can't it be as soon as possible? The situation on the Uzumaki clan is not good, God knows when the enemy will take action. Seeing that Tsunade still wanted to pester him, Uchiha Jiri did not tolerate her, and her momentum suddenly burst out, pressing Tsunade. Tsunade's back was bent, her face flushed, her whole body trembled, and she almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, this kind of pressure was only for a moment, and was taken back by Uchiha Jiri. Uchiha Jiri took a sip from the short-term teacup, as if nothing had happened just now. Looked up at Tsunade, waved his hand gently and said, I have made my meaning clear, you can go. Yes. Tsunade clenched her fists, and although she felt very aggrieved, she still nodded in response, then I'll take my leave. After that, she turned around and walked away from Uchiha Jiri's house quickly. After leaving the yard, she felt relieved, and the trembling in her body subsided a little. With a complicated look, she looked back at Uchiha Yuri's house and thought, what a terrifying aura. It seems that I underestimated this person. This person's strength is definitely not inferior to Grandma. In addition, her vitality is very strong. This is definitely not just for show. It seems that she has really recovered. This is a good thing. At least it proves that Uchiha Yuri does have a way to save her grandma. With this thought, Tsunade quickly left the Uchiha tribe and returned to her home. Then, she told her grandma about her experience. Finally, she said with a wrong face, Grandma, you don't know how fierce this Uchiha Yuri is. He used his aura to press down on me when he didn't agree with me. That terrifying aura almost pressed your granddaughter to the ground. Chapter 29, The Legend of Uchiha Jiri, The Awesomeness of the Third Generation, 1/6. Uzumaki Mito heard Tsunade's complaint. Not only did he not sympathize, but laughed cheerfully. You are so similar, now you are at a disadvantage, right? Who do you think Uchiha Yuri is? Don't be fooled by her gentle appearance and temperament, but only those who have truly witnessed the Uchiha civil strife and witnessed her suppressing the entire Uchiha clan by herself can understand her domineering and powerfulness. This is a super genius whose talent is not inferior to mine, or even better than mine. She even angrily scolded your second grandfather many times because of Uchiha. Even your second grandfather couldn't do anything to her and could only give in, which shows how Madara is. Speaking of this, Uzumaki Mito also looked nostalgic and sighed. Back then, if it wasn't for the development of Sharingan Forbidden Technique, her life source and soul source would be damaged. In addition to the use of that forbidden technique blindly lost one eye, and her legend may continue to the present. If so, how can monkeys dare to secretly suppress and bully Uchiha these years? You have a warning. Of course, she did so, and it is estimated that she really told me that she did not have to test. Her body and strength did restore it. She is willing to talk about it, and obviously does not mind trading with us. Whether the conditions of the two sides can reach this, Uzumaki Mito is not worried about this. If you want to talk, then it is okay. Thinking about how her second grandfather had been criticized by Uchiha Yuri and couldn't do anything to her, all of a sudden, the slight grievance and unhappiness in her heart disappeared. The most fearful thing about everything is comparison. Of course he is powerful. Otherwise, Monkey and his friends wouldn't have been so cautious and tested Uchiha bit by bit in these years. After learning that she seemed to have returned to her peak, they wouldn't have been so nervous. Not only did he not dare to do anything excessive to Uchiha's reforms, he also refuted and opposed such reforms, and he ran to me to complain at the first time, wanting me to test Uchiha Yuri. In fact, Monkey's purpose is to use my remaining power to fight against or even intimidate Uchiha Yuri, so that she won't go too far. However, at this time, Tsunade smiled and said, "The old man would never have thought that not only did you not intend to intimidate Yuri-sama, but you also planned to form an alliance with her, hee. I am looking forward to the moment when the old man knows the truth, how ugly his face will be, hee. She is very willing to take revenge on the third generation at this time. The third generation is going to destroy her family and destroy her clan. If she doesn't want to take revenge, then there is a problem." Well, in view of Uchiha Chiri's legendary deeds and strength, Tsunade unconsciously changed the way she addressed her. There was respect in her tone. She obviously admired and worshipped this kind of strong woman. Haha. Wait and see. It's time to make him suffer a little. Otherwise, he really thinks we are easy to bully. Humph. Uzumaki Mito snorted coldly. But, at this time, Tsunade said with a puzzled look, "Grandma, why did Chiri-sama wait for 20 days to meet again? Will this delay the rescue of the Uzumaki clan?" Not sure. Uzumaki Mito shook his head. Since she did this, she must have her necessary reasons. We just have to wait patiently. As for the Uzumaki clan, you don't have to worry too much. At present, the 4 major ninja villages are still in the stage of probing and gathering intelligence. There is no sign of mobilizing troops. There should be enough time. If it's really too late, I will take the initiative to meet Uchiha Chiri in advance. But that would be more passive. It will also cause unnecessary chain reactions and make the third generation people have unnecessary suspicions. So, if it is not necessary, she would rather wait for Uchiha Yuri to come to her on her own initiative. Yeah, Tsunade felt relieved after hearing this. Since Grandma has prepared everything, I feel relieved. Well, as she said that, she stretched and felt a lot more relaxed. If there is nothing else, I will go to rest first. I am exhausted today. She had already done a lot of operations in the hospital. After coming back, she knew so many inside stories and experienced multiple psychological tortures. She couldn't stand it anymore. Hee. Then you go to rest. Uzumaki Mito smiled knowingly and waved her hand. You should let you experience more psychological torture so that you can grow up quickly. Otherwise, how can you be so naive and let an old lady support everything? ... Not long after Tsunade left the Uchiha tribe, the third generation received the news. He could not sit still any longer, and immediately rushed to Uzumaki Mito's side, met with Uzumaki Mito, and asked about the progress of the matter. Uzumaki Mito directly Kaido, I have sent her an invitation, and she agreed, but she will not meet me until 20 days later. So, Wait. In addition, I have also tried it, and after Tsunade's confirmation, Uchiha Zhili has indeed fully recovered, and is not the kind of strong on the outside. Think about it yourself. After all, you also know that this person is not easy to fool, hehe. I don't know if it's an illusion. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard a sense of gloating from Uzumaki Mito's last laugh. He was also startled in his heart, thinking, it seems that some of our small moves and methods against Senju in recent years have been noticed by Lord Mito. We have to be more careful next time. In addition, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that asking Uzumaki Mito to invite and test Uchiha Zhili this time might be a failure. Because he didn't know whether Uchiha Zhili's recovery method would work on Uzumaki Mito. Unfortunately, he didn't know what was wrong with Uchiha Zhili's body. He didn't know what was wrong with Uzumaki Mito's body. Therefore, he couldn't make an accurate judgment on this point. I can only take it one step at a time. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed in his heart. He couldn't stop Uzumaki Mito from meeting Uchiha Zhili, right? He couldn't do it, and he didn't dare to do it. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had only been in power for 9 years and had stabilized his power for a short time, was not the future third Hokage who had the final say and reached the peak of prestige. Especially since Uzumaki Mito and Uchiha Zhili were still there. After figuring out the situation, the third generation did not stay with Uzumaki Mito for long and quickly said goodbye and left. He was not ready to tell Danzo and the others about his guess and the true situation of Uchiha Zhili for the time being. Because he was afraid that Danzo would do something secretly. This guy was a scoundrel who was not afraid of anything. If he knew the situation, he might really go back to stop and disrupt Uzumaki Mito's meeting. If that happened, the third generation could not afford the consequences. Danzo will probably be beaten to death, right? The third generation thought with a shudder in their hearts. If Danzo dared to stop it. Chapter 30. Uchiha Xuanqing recovers, and his lifespan increases dramatically, 2/6. On Xuanqing's side, as time went by, his body became stronger day by day. The essence of life was nourished by medicine and Sea King's meat, and under the conditioning of health-preserving exercises, it recovered faster and faster. Even his height rose again. 4 days later, Kuleha created super nutrition potions and body-building potions. It took Xuanqing only 2 days to create weakened nutrition potions and body-building potions with different effects, such as 1/10, 2/10, 5/10, 8/10, based on these 2 potions. In addition, nutrition pills were created by combining Sea King's meat with some medicines. And at the same time, weakened pills of various levels ranging from 10% to 90% were created. After another 7 days, he successfully weakened the conditioning potion that healed hidden injuries and restored vitality. Even on this basis, combined with nutrition pills and nutrition potions, he created a potion with mild efficacy that can replenish a large amount of vitality in a short time. Xuanqing named it the Life Potion. This potion should be able to perfectly solve Uzumaki Mito's problem. The premise is that she really just lost too much vitality. Uchiha Xuanqing looked at the bottle of life potion full of gentle vitality in his hand and thought. At this time, after years of study and research, his medical skills have successfully broken through to the small success level. And he has walked a long way in the small success level. Other aspects have also made great progress. Oh, the potion you made is not bad. Especially for ninjas like you who extract cell energy, it is quite suitable. With this, you basically get rid of the problem of Krypton life output. But this should not be cheap, right? At this time, Kuleha came over, looked at the life potion in Xuanqing's hand, and asked with a smile. Xuanqing nodded affirmatively. It is indeed not cheap. It requires a lot of Sea King's meat and precious medicinal materials. The extraction and refining process is also particularly cumbersome and difficult. If converted into Bailey, the cost is 5 million per bottle. If the extraction process and production process can be improved in the future, it will definitely be reduced a lot. But this is not something that can be completed in a short time. He is not good at mechanical manufacturing and mechanical transformation for the time being. It is impossible to improve the process and build an advanced production line. Maybe, I can make friends with Orochimaru and reach a cooperation with him. Xuanqing couldn't help thinking. But then this idea was rejected by him. No. His current scientific research ability is not good enough. Besides, he is still a die-hard of the third generation at this time, so he is not suitable yet. Maybe, we can think of a way from the pirate world. For example, get technology from Germa 66. With his current strength, he obviously can't do this. Obviously, he still has to rely on his mother. Mom has enough things to do right now. This life potion is not so urgent. Let's talk about it later. Oh, I lack a trustworthy and powerful thug. Xuanqing thought with a sigh in his heart. Fortunately, he basically doesn't need this kind of life potion at present. When he recovers to normal, it will be enough to have nutritional potions or nutritional pills to replenish vitality and nutrition. It's already very good. Konoha shook her head without comment. The more powerful the potion, the more difficult it is to refine. You should know this. You will be fully recovered in a few days. You still need a lot of medical books you promised. Will you come here often in the future? At present, the total number of medical books she has received is less than 200. It's still a long way to go. But just these alone have benefited her a lot. Of course. Xuanqing smiled and nodded. Don't worry. Even if I get better, with my current strength, it's not time for me to go out to sea and wander around. In addition, I still have thousands of medical books on your side that I haven't finished reading, and I haven't finished learning your medical skills. How can I give up and not come? I must squeeze out all the surplus value of Kuleha. He even hopes to raise Kuleha's favorability to more than 80 points. At present, Kuleha's favorability towards him has increased to 72 points, and victory is in sight. It should be enough to give him a few more months. This is because the higher the favorability, the slower it will increase. Fortunately, more exchanges of medical skills and more interactions will always improve slowly. Haha. Konoha laughed loudly after hearing this, pointing at Xuanqing and said, "You kid are really greedy. It's not that easy to learn my medical skills. Be prepared to stay here for a long time." After speaking, Kuleha turned around and walked back to his recliner and continued to read medical books. In a flash, several days passed. Xuanqing has been staying on the Drum Island for almost a month. Today, his body is finally completely healed. The innate deficiency of the source of life has been completely made up. In fact, because of the health-preserving exercises he practiced during this period, and the feedback after the deficiency was fully made up, his source of life is much higher than that of ordinary people. His physique is several times stronger than that of his peers in the ninja world. Uchiha Xuanqing. Talent, space-time gate, God rewards hard work. Lifespan, 95 years, 7 months, 19 days. Life origin, 13.2. Chakra attributes, water, wind, fire, earth, yin, yang. Skills, Uchiha Chakra refining 1/100th, entry-level medical skills 7,568 50,000ths, minor health preservation 5,145 10,000ths, major Uchiha meditation 456 1,000ths, grandmaster basic physical skills 342 500ths, proficient. Haha. Finally recovered. Lifespan has reached more than 95 years. If I continue to practice health preservation, it will probably not take long to break through 100 years. Seeing his current attribute situation, Xuanqing was very happy and finally relaxed a lot. In order to restore his body to health, he really made a lot of efforts this month. Next, you can formally practice chakra, ninjutsu, taijutsu, and even 6 styles in Haki. Of course, many of them need to be gradually developed. For example, 6 styles in Haki. You need to make a plan based on your body's tolerance and take it step by step. Chakra training should not be excessive every day. Even if there are nutritional pills and nutritional potions to supplement vitality and nutrition, you must control the amount. Have I awakened the yang attribute? This is a pleasant surprise. It seems that it will be much easier to practice medical ninjutsu and even yang escape in the future. This should be related to the recent large-scale consumption of Sea King's meat, which replenishes vitality, improves physical fitness, and replenishes and improves the source of life. Xuanqing guessed in his heart. In short, it is a pleasant surprise. The only thing missing is the thunder attribute to achieve all attributes. Maybe, you can get it by eating thunder fruit. Xuanqing couldn't help but imagine. The only doubt is whether he should eat devil fruit to add a weakness to himself. It is true that the seawater in the ninja world cannot trigger this weakness, only the seawater in the pirate world has this effect. But I will also dominate the pirate world in the future, so this weakness cannot be ignored. I don't know if there is any way to eliminate this weakness. Oh, I can only wait and see. I can't think of a way, so Xuanqing just stopped thinking about it for the time being. He greeted Makoto and Kuleha, and the two of them teleported back to their home in the ninja world. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Chapter 31. Embarrassed Sarutobi Hiruzen, Uzumaki Mito, are you sure you are an Uchiha and not a Senju? 3/6. At this time, Uchiha Zhili was already waiting at home. Seeing Xuanqing and the others return, Uchiha Zhili smiled knowingly and said, "You're back. If you don't come back, I'll be ready to pick you up." "Xuanqing, are you completely healed? Let mom take a look." As she said that, Uchiha Zhili stood up and walked forward, stretched out her hand on Xuanqing's shoulder, and used her mental power and chakra to probe into Xuanqing's body to check. After finding no problems at all, and even feeling that Xuanqing's life source was much stronger than that of ordinary people, she withdrew her mental power and chakra with confidence, and happily touched Xuanqing's head and said, "Great, finally healed. Mom has been looking forward to this for a long time. Happy. My biggest worry has finally been solved." Hee hee. Xuanqing also smiled. "I've made you worry all this time, Mom. Things will get better and better in the future. Next, I can also practice and become stronger." "Yeah." Uchiha Zhili smiled and nodded. "No more talking, let's have breakfast first. We should go to the Senju clan to keep an appointment later." As she said, she invited Xuanqing and Makoto to sit down at the dining table, and while eating breakfast, she looked at Makoto and said, "Makoto, are you going to school today?" "No need." Uchiha Makoto nodded affirmatively. "But I have an appointment with Kushina to go shopping together today. If you want to go to the Senju clan, we are on the way." As Kushina's best friend, she naturally knows that Kushina lives in the Senju clan. Oh. Uchiha Zhili heard this and raised her eyebrows slightly. "Uzumaki Kushina. I know her. You can keep a good relationship with her in the future." "Yeah. Although, in the short term, Kushina may not become Ninetales Jinchuriki. After all, if today's transaction goes smoothly, Uzumaki Mito can live for many more years. The Uzumaki clan is a long-lived clan, but Uzumaki Mito will not live long because of Ninetales. As long as Uzumaki Mito is cured and the problem of her excessive consumption of vitality is solved, most of her lifespan can be restored naturally." "Yeah, I will. Kushina is a very good person." Although Uchiha Makoto didn't know what Uchiha Zhili really meant, she still nodded obediently. She made friends with Kushina without any purpose, just because they were compatible. Soon, breakfast was over. After sorting out the tableware, Uchiha Zhili took Xuanqing and Makoto to the Senju clan's territory. It took more than 10 minutes to reach the yard where Uzumaki Mito was. "Chiri, you are here. Welcome. Please come in." "Welcome, Chiri-sama." After receiving the news, Uzumaki Mito personally brought Tsunade to the gate to greet them. He welcomed Uchiha Chiri and his party in. "Excuse me." Uchiha Chiri was also very satisfied with Uzumaki Mito's attitude, and immediately returned the greeting and walked into the yard. At this time, many Anbu and even root ninjas were hiding in the distance outside, trying to spy on the situation inside. But Uzumaki Mito just glanced and then closed the gate. With a slight step, he directly activated the soundproof barrier, anti-spying barrier, and many other barriers covering the entire yard. Completely cut off the possibility of Anbu and root ninjas outside to explore and monitor the information inside. Even the third generation in the Hokage's office sighed helplessly at the blank crystal ball in front of them. "Ah. It's really too much to hope for. It seems that we can only ask Lord Mito afterwards. I hope it won't be a bad thing." "Humph." Danzo on the side saw this and snorted coldly. "You always say how powerful your telescope technique is, but in the end, this is it. You can only use it to peek into the hot spring house. The third generation blushed. Seeing Uchiha Kaharu spitting lightly and Mitokado Homura holding back his laughter, the third generation couldn't hold their face anymore and quickly argued. Danzo, don't talk nonsense, when did I use this to peek into the hot spring house? After that, he quickly looked at Uchiha Kaharu and argued. Kaharu, don't listen to Danzo, you have to believe me. I didn't. He didn't really care about Uchiha Kaharu's opinion, he cared about his wife, Bawako. You know, Bawako and Uchiha Kaharu are good friends. If his wife knew about this, he would be dead or skinned. Hey, do you think I believe it? Seeing this, Uchiha Kaharu immediately crossed her arms and sneered disdainfully. We have been friends for many years, who doesn't know who? Third generation has always been a sultry old pervert, do you think she doesn't know? Please let it go. Don't tell Bawako. Third generation begged for mercy. Forget about this time, let's talk about business first. Uchiha Kaharu just teased the third generation for a while, and immediately changed the topic, with a serious look. Hiruzen, what do you think Mito-sama and the others will talk about this time? Has Uchiha Yuri really recovered completely? Almost. The third generation nodded with a heavy face. During this period, Danzo and I have sent people to observe her from a distance. We are sure that even if she has not fully recovered, she has at least recovered a lot. I don't think she will die in the short term. It shouldn't affect her performance. This is the trouble. This means that in the short term, they can't do too much to Uchiha. This person is not easy to fool. Since she recovered, some of the small actions they made against Uchiha in the past have been cleared by her. Uchiha's losses have been returned by her in various ways, and the benefits have basically been recovered. This set of skilled methods of fighting and eliminating made the third generation feel very frustrated. Uchiha Kaharu and Mitokado Homura looked at Danzo after hearing this. Indeed. Danzo nodded grimly. Is that so? Uchiha Kaharu also looked unhappy. Then we can only stop targeting Uchiha for the time being. I just hope that Lord Mito won't do anything weird again. Otherwise, we can just give up. If Uzumaki Mito and Uchiha Chiri join forces, all their tricks will be in vain. The scene returns to Uzumaki Mito. After welcoming Xuanqing and his group into the living room, Uzumaki Mito asked Tsunade to serve tea to Uchiha Chiri and the others. He also sent Kushina to go shopping with Uchiha Makoto. After Makoto and the others left, he sat down opposite Uchiha Yuri. The ninja looked at Uchiha Yuri for a few times and said without hiding his surprise, I thought you only recovered on the surface and were just holding on. But last time Tsunade told me that you really recovered completely. But seeing you with my own eyes today, I understand that you are far more than just recovered. Your physique and vitality are several times stronger than your peak period. Even your soul and mental strength have recovered a lot. The same is true for your pupil power. If I didn't know that you are a pure Uchiha, with your vitality, I would almost think you are Senju or Uzumaki clan. Even your son is the same. Although his situation is not as exaggerated as yours, his vitality and physique are much stronger than his peers. As far as I know, more than a month ago, he should still be a child with congenital deficiencies, weak and sickly, and almost unable to become a ninja. Now not only has his congenital deficiencies been completely made up, but he has also exceeded them. What exactly have you experienced during this period? Can you tell me about it? Chapter 32 Uchiha Chiri made up a story. Tsunade, do you think I believe it? 4/6. Not only Mito, but Tsunade beside him was also quite curious. This amazing change was fascinating. If I can get this method to improve my vitality and physique, my strength will probably be amazingly improved, right? At the same time, my grandma's problem can be completely solved. Tsunade thought excitedly. If she wasn't afraid that Uchiha Yuri would teach her a lesson again, or if she wasn't afraid of causing unnecessary misunderstandings, she would have asked directly. Nothing is hidden. Uchiha Yuri listened, took a sip of tea, smiled faintly and said, I am willing to come here this time, I have anticipated some things, and I am ready for the deal. It's nothing to say, it's just that my son has recently become enlightened, and then, he has made some achievements in researching medical skills and medicine. developed a way to make up for the lack of life source, restore life source and vitality. Developed a way to warm the eyes and eye tendons, that's all. Uzumaki Mito's eyes twitched slightly after hearing this. Tsunade was also speechless, and both of them looked like, do we look like fools? Don't be unwilling to tell the truth, but make up a decent lie. However, none of this matters. As long as you know that the other party really has a way to make up for the lack of life source and vitality, that's enough. Let me get this straight. Because I sealed 9 tails, my vitality is constantly draining away and overconsumed. If I can't reverse it, I will only have a few years left to live. What conditions do I need to give in order for you to give me a way to replenish my vitality and even the source of life? Uzumaki Mito was too lazy to beat around the bush and ask directly. Because she knew that it was meaningless to play tricks with Uchiha Zhili. She didn't buy it at all. It would be better to be more direct and decisive, and it would also make a better impression on Uchiha Zhili. As expected of Uzumaki Mito, straightforward. Uchiha Zhili smiled knowingly when he heard this, and said slowly, however, there is no rush to negotiate conditions. Let my Xuanqing take a look at you first and understand your specific situation first. The right medicine can only be prescribed according to the symptoms. You have to know Uzumaki Mito's situation clearly before you can serve the right dish. Huh. Uzumaki Mito was slightly stunned after hearing this, and looked at Xuanqing, then looked at Uchiha Zhili and said, are you serious? You made up a story that you believed yourself. Uchiha Zhili naturally saw her undisguised suspicion, and did not explain much, just chuckled and said, try it and you will know. Uzumaki Mito heard this, looked at Uchiha Zhili seriously for a few seconds, and then nodded and said, okay. Let's try it. She wanted to see how Uchiha Zhili would make up for the lie later. It's impossible that this kid named Xuanqing, who is only 6 years old, really has this ability, right? Immediately, Uzumaki Mito looked at Xuanqing and asked, what do you need me to do? Just stretch out your hand on the table. Xuanqing raised his hand to indicate. Okay. Uzumaki Mito put one hand on the table as he said, and put his palm in front of Xuanqing. Xuanqing raised his hand and put his fingers on Uzumaki Mito's wrist. With his minor medical skills, he quickly figured out Uzumaki Mito's physical condition. The main thing is that her condition is not complicated. As previously guessed, it is caused by excessive loss of vitality. Just make up for the lost vitality. Because she lost too much vitality, she still needs life potions to solve it all at once. Of course, this still cannot prevent her from constantly consuming vitality to suppress the tailed beast in her body in the future. She still needs to take medicine regularly in the future. It's okay. After figuring out the situation, Xuanqing withdrew his hand and nodded slightly to Uchiha Zhili. Then, directly in the doubtful expressions of Uzumaki Mito and Tsunade, he said, I have understood the situation. There is no other problem with your body, and you are in good condition. It's just that the vitality is simply lost too much. As long as you take the life potion, you can make up the lost vitality at once. Of course, the loss of vitality due to age is not included. If even the loss of vitality due to age can be compensated. It is not a life potion, but a life extension or even immortality potion. Obviously, Xuanqing's life potion can't do this. Lifespan obviously involves deeper things. For example, the origin of life, the number of cell divisions, etc. Life potion. Uzumaki Mito and Tsunade asked curiously, what is this? Then, Uzumaki Mito looked at Uchiha Zhili and asked, is it the potion you took? At this time, she already believed that Xuanqing really had the ability to treat illnesses. He really had good medical skills. Is everything Uchiha Zhili said true? Is it really her son who has awakened? Uzumaki Mito thought hesitantly. Not really. Uchiha Zhili shook her head and denied. You should know that my situation is much more complicated than yours, so it is more troublesome to treat. It took more than half a month to get better. Of course, if there was a life potion at the time, it should have further shortened her recovery time. It's just that it's not necessary. There are also benefits to being slower. Her physical condition at the time didn't allow this. Is that so? Uzumaki Mito nodded in understanding. Indeed, Uchiha Zhili's situation is more complicated. So, what conditions do I use to obtain this life potion? As long as I take this life potion, will I never suffer from excessive loss of vitality in the future? Uzumaki Mito asked instead. Not really. Xuanqing did not wait for Uchiha Zhili to speak, and shook his head directly. Taking life potion can only cure your current loss of vitality. In addition, you will need to take some nutritional pills occasionally in the future to replenish the extra vitality consumed by suppressing the tailed beasts every day. As for the nutritional pills, that is also a kind of medicine I developed. It can replenish a large amount of high-quality nutrition in a short period of time, quickly restore physical strength and energy, eliminate certain fatigue, and provide a certain amount of mild vitality. It can be regarded as a super-enhanced version of the military ration pill. This will be sold in the new pharmacy opened by our Uchiha clan later, and you can buy it yourself. That's about it. At this point, Xuanqing looked at his mother and said, Mom, you can negotiate the terms. Then, Xuanqing returned to his mother and sat down quietly, not speaking again. Yes. Uchiha Zhili smiled and nodded, then looked at Uzumaki Mito and said, 3 conditions. First, from today on, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan will form an alliance and advance and retreat together. I think you have also noticed that the disciples of Senju Tobirama are not honest and not kind. Senju and Uchiha are both targets they suppress and even want to eliminate. It can be considered our common enemy. Yes. Uzumaki Mito nodded in agreement. I don't deny this, so I agree to the alliance. Allying with Uchiha, no matter how bad it is, it will not be worse than the current situation. Moreover, if the abilities shown by Uchiha Xuanqing are all true, combined with Uchiha's recent reforms, then Uchiha may exceed her expectations in the future. Chapter 33, Requesting Flying Thunder God and Sealing Technique, The Amazing Effect of Life Potion 5/6. It is worthwhile to form an alliance at this time. As for the grudge between Senju and Uchiha, it is already a thing of the past. If this continues, Senju will disappear, so why bother about the past grudge? It is meaningless. Senju Tobirama is afraid of the concept of targeting Uchiha, and it is even less worth mentioning in the eyes of Uzumaki Mito. Second, I want Flying Thunder God technique, Senju Tobirama's water-style ninjutsu, and all the sealing techniques you have mastered. Uchiha Chiri spoke again. She did not mention money at all. When Uchiha's pharmacy opens, Uchiha will basically not lack money. If we get the golden shellfish from Sky Island, we will have even less. Asking for money is the most worthless choice. Ninjutsu and sealing techniques are more valuable. Although, with the teleportation function of the space-time gate, Flying Thunder God seems to be meaningless to the contractor. But that's not what she said. Whether it is used to cover up the teleportation ability of the space-time gate or to provide learning for non-contracted people within the family, it is a good choice. Uzumaki Mito frowned after hearing this. Flying Thunder God technique and Tobirama's water-style ninjutsu are not a problem. But as for the sealing technique, I can't give you the 2 types of Shiki Fujin and adamantine sealing chains. Let's not talk about the former. You can't learn the latter without Uzumaki bloodline. But it may bring flaws to the Uzumaki family's adamantine sealing chains. Is that so? Okay. Then exclude these 2. Okay. Uchiha Yuri listened, did not dwell on this point, thought about it, and cast a questioning look at Xuanqing. After seeing Xuanqing nod, he agreed. Then, he continued, the last condition is that Tsunade accepts my son Xuanqing as his apprentice and promises to teach him all the medical knowledge and medical ninjutsu he has mastered. Is there a problem? Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito were a little surprised. Uzumaki Mito asked puzzledly, didn't you say that your son has become smart and is very good at medical skills and medicine? He can even research life potions and nutritional pills, but he still needs to become Tsunade's apprentice and learn medicine from Tsunade. Or do you have other purposes and aim for the position of Hokage? This is the most likely reason Uzumaki Mito could think of at the moment. Not exactly. Uchiha Yuri shook his head and said, the position of Hokage is the obsession of many Uchiha people, and it is naturally among our future goals. But I know very well that only those who have enough strength and influence and enough supporters in Uchiha can become Hokage. The identity of a Hokage's direct descendant alone is useless. Not to mention, with Sarutobi Hiruzen's greed for power, he wants to rely on the name of his disciple to obtain the position of Hokage and gain his support. This is basically impossible. The main reason is that the medical skills mastered by my son are different from the mainstream. This can be seen from the fact that he just took your pulse and treated your illness. In addition, he does not master any medical ninjutsu. These are all he needs. In addition, I also want him to take on the skin of Tsunade's disciple, the third-generation disciple, so that he can grow up peacefully for a few years. Any more questions? Want to become Hokage by relying on the identity of Tsunade's disciple? It's a joke. Neither she nor Xuanqing had ever planned this. When the day comes when their Uchiha strength can dominate the ninja world, they will naturally be invited to the position of Hokage. Is that so? It seems that I misunderstood. Yes, Tsunade's identity as a disciple is indeed not very useful for becoming a Hokage. This can be agreed. What do you think, Tsunade? Uzumaki Mito nodded, and finally looked at Tsunade and asked. Okay. Tsunade looked at Xuanqing meaningfully, nodded and said, I have no objection. She thought to herself, the little guy is pretty. In addition, she was also very interested in Xuanqing's medical skills that were different from the mainstream, so there was naturally no reason to refuse. Well, actually, there is not much room for refusal. The initiative has never been in their hands. Then this matter is settled. Uchiha Zhili nodded with satisfaction, and turned to Xuanqing and raised his chin slightly to signal, give the life potion to Mito. Okay. Xuanqing immediately took out a tube of life potion from his arms and handed it to Uzumaki Mito on the opposite side. In an instant, Uzumaki Mito and Tsunade's eyes fell on the potion in Xuanqing's hand. They just felt full of desire for the potion. They could feel that the potion was full of extremely rich and gentle vitality. Uzumaki Mito hurriedly took the potion, and observed it carefully with Tsunade, and sighed, it is indeed a very powerful potion. It is hard to imagine that this was made by a 6-year-old child like Xuanqing. But now is not the time to care about these things. Uzumaki Mito took a deep breath and immediately opened the potion bottle stopper. Suddenly, a very rich and attractive vitality emanated. Squeak! The wood on the floor and the table began to sprout. Hiss! Uzumaki Mito and Tsunade couldn't help but take a breath of cold air when they saw this. Reminder, drink it as soon as you open it. It will evaporate. Xuanqing couldn't help but remind him. Okay. Thank you. Uzumaki Mito immediately came back to her senses and nodded slightly to Xuanqing to thank him. Then, she drank the bottle of life potion in one gulp. The next moment, she felt a stream of high quality and abundant vitality, gently spreading rapidly from her stomach, being greedily absorbed by every cell in her body. The dead air in Uzumaki Mito's body quickly dissipated like ice and snow melting, and her vitality quickly recovered. Her face became ruddy at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the same time, her hair became brighter red. This is because she has been maintaining her appearance with the 100 healings mark. Otherwise, you will find that her originally pale hair has truly regained its bright red color, and her old skin and flesh have become fresh and full of vitality. This is, at this time, in the sealed space inside Uzumaki Mito's body. Because Uzumaki Mito has completely blocked its perception of the outside world during this period, Ninetales does not know what is happening outside. At this time, it only feels that Uzumaki Mito's vitality is recovering and surging rapidly. As a result, the firmness and suppression power of the sealed space have surged unprecedentedly. In just over 10 minutes, Ninetales felt that the sealed space seemed to have returned to its peak state when it was just sealed. The vitality of Uzumaki Mito has also returned to its peak. Damn it! Uzumaki Mito, what on earth did you do? Your vitality has recovered. Let me out. Let me out. I don't want to be locked up. At this time, Ninetales began to attack the sealed space frantically. If Uzumaki Mito really recovered completely, then she might be able to live for at least a few more decades. It would also have to continue to be locked up for decades. How could it be willing? It has been waiting for the moment when Uzumaki Mito's life came to an end. Although it knew that Konoha would probably prepare the next Jinchuriki for it by then. But maybe it could escape by then. This is an opportunity. It didn't want this opportunity to disappear. But it was ridiculous that its limbs were completely tied up by the chains of adamantine sealing chains at this time, and it couldn't move at all. It could only howl. It looked quite pitiful and miserable. No wonder Nine Tails hated Uzumaki Mito and Senju Hashirama so much. Who wouldn't hate them? Chapter 34. Uzumaki Mito recovers. Nine Tails. I will be sentenced to several decades more. FK me. 6/6. Okay. Nine Tails, be quiet. It's no use for you to howl like this. I've completely recovered. For the next few decades, I'll still be with you, an old woman. Just be happy. At this time, Uzumaki Mito's spirit body appeared in the sealed space, looking at Nine Tails with a faint smile and said, Nine Tails. IF*******************. G. The next moment, Nine Tails cursed at Uzumaki Mito. The curse was very ugly. Uzumaki Mito, who was in a good mood, turned pale. Shut up. The next moment, several golden chains were wrapped around Nine Tails' mouth, giving it a physical silence. No matter how Nine Tails struggled, it was useless. At this time, Nine Tails wanted to cry but had no tears. Devil. You are the devil. After Nine Tails shut up, Uzumaki Mito's spirit body slowly disappeared. At this time, outside, Uzumaki Mito slowly opened her eyes and moved her body. She felt great. Then, she even tried to remove the anti-aging effect of the 100 healings mark. As a result, she only looked more mature, no longer old. Haha. The effect is very good. I am very satisfied. Uzumaki Mito smiled immediately. Her eyes looking at Xuanqing became softer. He is a treasure boy. Maybe, let him have more contact with Kushina. If it can be a good thing, it may not be a bad thing. Uzumaki Mito even thought in her heart. In that case, if she wants to ask for a life potion in the future, won't she be able to get it for free? If Tsunade was not so much younger than Xuanqing, she even wanted to instigate Tsunade to take Xuanqing. I envy Uchiha and Zhili. Uzumaki Mito thought with some jealousy. Tsunade suddenly felt a chill on her back. She looked around in confusion, but didn't find anything unusual. She looked away, feeling a little confused. She felt like she was being stared at by something bad. Kushina, who was shopping with Makoto at the moment, yawned several times in succession, looking puzzled. What's going on? Who is scolding me? Kushina, are you okay? Makoto saw it and asked with some concern. I should be fine. It might be Minato, the sissy, who is scolding me. Humph. I'm going to teach him a lesson when I go to school tomorrow. Kushina raised her eyebrows and snorted. At this time, Minato, who happened to be passing by not far away, witnessed the whole process and was speechless. He didn't understand why it turned out like this. He had always wanted to express his kindness to Kushina, but it was misunderstood by Kushina as malicious. It's amazing. He felt that there was a pathetic wall of size between him and Kushina, which was difficult to cross. This wall of size is called three views. Uzumaki Mito's sighed. How is it? Fully recovered. Uchiha Zhili saw Uzumaki Mito open his eyes and asked. In fact, there was no need to ask. She could clearly feel Uzumaki Mito's vigorous vitality and powerful momentum by perception. She estimated that if she fought with Uzumaki Mito now, it would be a 50-50 fight. Yeah. Uzumaki Mito nodded affirmatively, and said with a happy face, it is indeed fully recovered. This potion is worthy of its name. Thank you. In this way, I can live for decades more. In this way, she will have enough time to arrange everything for the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan. Accompany Naoki and Tsunade to grow up completely. Don't worry. Uchiha Zhili chuckled and shook his head, it's just a deal. Besides, it's more beneficial for Uchiha if you're alive. With you suppressing us and Senju in front, we Uchiha can be much more relaxed. Uchiha Zhili was very happy when he thought that Sarutobi Hiruzen and others would be suppressed by Uzumaki Mito for decades. Don't forget, we are allies. We agreed to advance and retreat together. We should fight together. Uzumaki Mito retorted with a smile. He then said, in addition, if possible, I hope not to let Monkey know that I have fully recovered for the time being. We can say the same thing to the outside world, just say that your methods have helped me extend my life for a few years and can let me live a few more years. Give them some hope, so that they won't be desperate and do something irrational and cause trouble for us. What do you think? Don't push people too hard. It's better to do it step by step. You can't just kill the third generation, right? In that case, Konoha will also suffer a bad loss. At this time, the ninja world is not peaceful, and the situation is becoming more and more tense. Uzumaki Mito estimated that the next ninja war might not be far away. She had to consider it comprehensively. The most urgent thing is that Senju should first restore their vitality and strength in a low profile. In addition, the Uzumaki clan must be saved. Okay. Uchiha Zhili thought about it and nodded in agreement. Uchiha is not ready to turn against them completely, so let's wait. However, you have to restrain your vitality. Otherwise, you have to believe that you haven't fully recovered. She believed that Uzumaki Mito, the Grandmaster sealing technique, could do it. This is easy. Uzumaki Mito smiled slightly and stretched out his hand to press his abdomen. The next moment, the life breath in the body quickly disappeared. In the end, it was only twice as much as before recovery. Okay, let's sign the covenant first. Although it doesn't seem necessary, it's better to be formal and go through the formalities. What do you think? Uzumaki Mito took the initiative to mention it. Uchiha Yuri was slightly stunned after hearing this, and then nodded and said, okay. Then wait a moment, I'll go prepare the documents. Uzumaki Mito immediately stood up and told Tsunade, Tsunade, you stay here to accompany the guests. Okay. After Uzumaki Mito went to the inner room, Tsunade enthusiastically poured another cup of tea for Uchiha Yuri and the others. Then, looking at Xuanqing, he asked, Xiao Xuanqing, can you tell me about your medical skills? How about we discuss it? Okay. Xuanqing had no objection. Immediately discussed it with Tsunade. After this chat, Tsunade soon discovered that Xuanqing's medical skills were already not simple. After a few minutes, she even felt that Xuanqing's medical skills were much better than hers. However, Xuanqing's medical skills are completely different from hers in the mainstream of the ninja world. It's like another system of medical skills. This makes Tsunade even more surprised. If it wasn't inappropriate, she would have wanted to ask Xuanqing where his medical skills came from. It's incredible. After more than 20 minutes, Uzumaki Mito returned to the living room with the documents, pens and ink, Flying Thunder God Technique, Tobarama Water Style, and a large seal scroll containing a lot of knowledge about sealing techniques. Tsunade was still immersed in the discussion with Xuanqing. Moreover, most of the time it was Xuanqing who was talking. Every time Tsunade said something, Xuanqing would quickly digest and understand it, and draw inferences from it. His learning ability shocked Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito. Chapter 35 Uzumaki Mito asks for help again, the conditions for saving the Uzumaki clan 1/6. Has this kid always been this good? Uzumaki Mito put down the document in his hand, leaned over to Uchiha Yuri, and asked softly. Yeah, it's always like this after he got the hang of it. Pretty good, isn't it? Uchiha Yuri chuckled and nodded, boasting with some pride. Awesome, I envy you. If Naoki was half as smart as him, I wouldn't have to worry so much. Uzumaki Mito shook his head helplessly, then handed the two documents to Uchiha Yuri and said, come on, let's ignore them and let them continue to discuss. Let's sign the covenant first. I've signed and sealed it, only you are left. Okay. Uchiha Yuri immediately signed his name on the two covenant documents and pressed his handprint. Then, each person took one. The covenant was considered to be a done deal. Here, this is the Flying Thunder God technique you want, Tobarama's water style, and many books on sealing techniques. They are all here, check them out. Uzumaki Mito handed a large number of scrolls to Uchiha Chiri. Uchiha Chiri waved her hand and put them into the space-time gate space and said, no need to check. If it is really missing, I will find you later. Anyway, you can't run away. Uzumaki Mito narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw her move. He was very curious and surprised. This kind of space method. But I guess Uchiha Chiri will not answer even if I ask, so I just don't ask. Then, Uzumaki Mito paused and said to Uchiha Chiri, I wonder if you Uchiha have received the situation in the Whirlpool country. Oh, Uchiha Chiri heard it, raised his eyebrows slightly, looked at Uzumaki Mito with a smile and said, "Of course I have received it. We Uchiha are still well informed. For Jinchuriki and sealing techniques, the other 4 major ninja villages seem to plan to attack the Whirlpool country together and seize its bloodline and sealing techniques. Why? Want us to help?" Yes. Uzumaki Mito did not deny it and nodded affirmatively. Uchiha Chiri said bluntly, "This is no longer in the covenant. The ally of the ally may not be my ally. You can help, but it will cost another price. Although, the survival of the Uzumaki clan is beneficial to Uchiha. But they can't help for nothing. Of course." Uzumaki Mito was not surprised by this, and had no objection. "Tell me your conditions." The Uzumaki clan's affairs really cannot be confused with the alliance between Senju and Uchiha. Unless one day the Uzumaki clan and Uchiha also sign an alliance. Uchiha Yuri listened, pondered for a moment and said, "After this incident, it is estimated that the Uzumaki clan will not be able to continue to stay in the land of whirlpools. Otherwise, the 4 major ninja villages will not give up. By then, the Uzumaki clan may have to move to Konoha or even directly join Konoha, right?" "Yes." Uzumaki Mito nodded affirmatively. "I am also going to go there in person this time. Even if Uzumaki Akihime disagrees, I will force this matter to happen. She can't always be on guard for the Uzumaki clan. In the eyes of the 4 major ninja villages and even Konoha, the Uzumaki clan is a piece of fat meat. Who doesn't want to take a bite? Only joining Konoha is their best destination. This is the best way to save the Uzumaki clan. It just so happens that the Senju are currently weak, and with the Uzumaki clan, a distant relative and ally, joining them, they can greatly enhance their strength and competitiveness. It's a win-win situation. After that, I want to copy a copy of the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique that does not involve blood secrets. In addition, I hope that our 3 clans can start a mutual marriage mode in the future." Uchiha Chiri directly put forward her conditions. The previous conditions were fine, and they were within Uzumaki Mito's expectations, but the latter condition was beyond her expectations. Even Tsunade, who was standing aside, was attracted and stopped discussing with Xuanqing. "Why?" Uzumaki Mito asked in confusion. "I remember that although you Uchiha do not prohibit intermarriage among your clansmen, you do not support this, right? Why do you want Uchiha to intermarry with Senju and Uzumaki? Just to further bind the 3 clans?" Uzumaki Mito did not believe it. "Haha. This involves a secret among the 3 clans." Uchiha Zhili smiled knowingly and blinked at Xuanqing. Then, she said to Uzumaki Mito slowly, "I learned from some ancient books in the clan that thousands of years ago, the Uchiha clan, the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan may have come from the same ancestor. That person is the Sage of 6 Paths." Uzumaki Mito and Tsunade were both surprised when they heard it. "Huh? Are you sure? You know, Senju and Uchiha have been fighting for thousands of years. You told me that the ancestor of the 2 clans is the same person. And they are both Sage of 6 Paths. It's just like telling a myth." "That's about right." Uchiha Yuri nodded, looked at Tsunade and asked, "Have you studied the blood cells of Uchiha and Senju?" Tsunade shook his head directly. "I'm not very interested in this kind of thing, you ask the wrong person. This is an area that Orochimaru is interested in. But I roughly understand what you mean. You mean that the 2 have a lot of overlap and complementarity at the blood level, right? This can indeed prove to a certain extent whether the 2 tribes have the same ancestor. I really believe that what you said is true. But, since they come from the same ancestor, why did Uchiha and Senju become a 1,000-year-old feud? It's unreasonable. What happened in the middle? Who knows?" Uchiha Yuri learned a lot of information from Xuanqing, so he naturally knew the reason. It's just the grudges between the 2 sons of the Sage of 6 Paths, the brothers Ashura and Indra. To be frank, it's not worth mentioning. Even now, brothers can turn against each other. 1,000 years have passed, and it could happen at any time." Uchiha Yuri said vaguely to Kaido. "That's right." Tsunade nodded in agreement. "So, back to the point, what does this have to do with your desire for intermarriage among the 3 tribes?" Uzumaki Mito got the topic back on track and asked again. Uchiha Yuri continued. "Kaido, In the legend I saw, it said that the Senju and Uzumaki tribes inherited the sage body of the Sage of Six Paths, and the Uchiha tribe inherited the sage eye of the Sage of Six Paths. Although, as the bloodline degenerated over 1,000 years, the abilities also degenerated. So, I was thinking, if the young people of the three tribes can combine, will the children born have the talents of the three tribes at the same time, becoming more potential and stronger? If so, it would be a good thing for all three tribes, wouldn't it? Well, this is also a good opportunity to annex the two tribes. With Xuanqing's space-time gate contract, Uchiha Zhili believes that with marriage as a bond, it is possible to make all the three tribes become Xuanqing's contractors in the future. This process is much easier than gradually influencing after becoming Hokage. At that time, it doesn't matter even if the form and framework of the three tribes are maintained on the surface. The combination of the three tribes will give birth to more potential children. You should have some basis, right? Uzumaki Mito said to Uchiha Zhili with a serious face. Although she felt that Uchiha Zhili might have a deeper purpose. But she didn't intend to interrogate. The other party probably couldn't say it. But it was just the reason she said. If it was true, Uzumaki Mito was willing to try it. After all, this is indeed a win-win situation. Chapter 36, A Marriage Between Three Tribes. Uchiha Jiri's plan to annex Senju and Uzumaki, 2/6. Of course, Uchiha Jiri nodded affirmatively, pointed at himself and said, I thought of this from my recovery this time and combined with the legend. I didn't care before, and I didn't believe it. But this time my body was healed by Xuanqing, and my life source and vitality were restored and even improved. I found that my damaged left eye was warmed under the influence of the enhanced vitality and physique. It is constantly recovering. This point, even without the eye-warming potion created by Xuanqing, it is still effective. Even the blind right eye has signs of recovery and revival under the nourishment of this enhanced physique and vitality. This is a good proof that a strong and more vital physique is also of great help to Sharingan, isn't it? If a person has both Sharingan and Sage body, perhaps, it is not only easier to open the eyes, but also easier to open Mangekyo Sharingan. And, under the influence of the physique, its Mangekyo as long as Sharingan is not overused, it can be easily restored with the help of strong vitality and physique. Quote. Based on this, I want to try to let the three tribes marry. What do you think? Yes, the above is naturally one of the reasons. But there is another reason, that is, Uchiha Zhili wants to verify the possibility of opening the eternal eye without fusing the Mangekyo of relatives through this form. If it can be done, the future of Uchiha will not only be elevated, but also prevent people from seizing the eyes of their relatives in pursuit of the eternal eye in the future. Is this also considered breaking the curse of an Uchiha? The eye-stealing civil war cannot happen again. It would even be better if Rinnegan could be born in the next generation through this method. Of course, Uchiha Zhili, who cleared the past and the future, also understood that this was difficult. Uchiha Madara was able to open the Rinnegan because he was the reincarnation of Indra and fused the flesh and blood of Senju Hashirama, the reincarnation of Ashura, to succeed. If you change to an ordinary sage body and eternal eye, you may not be able to awaken the Rinnegan. Even Xuanqing is still unclear whether Indra and Ashura's chakra are necessary for the opening of the Uchiha Madara Rinnegan. Is that so? Uzumaki Mito listened and nodded with some understanding. Of course it is possible. However, after the marriage, what should we do if the child born by the person who married into the Senju or Uzumaki awakens the Sharingan? You can't send the person back to Uchiha and give him the surname Uchiha. On the contrary, if there are descendants of the Uchiha who awaken the Senju or Uzumaki sage body, you can't send them back to the Senju or Uzumaki clan, right? How to solve this problem needs to be said in advance. It is actually quite troublesome if it is not sent back. In this way, Sharingan will no longer be exclusive to Uchiha in the future. Sage body, adamantine sealing chains, Kagura heart eye, etc. are no longer exclusive to Senju or Uzumaki. When it comes to blood inheritance, things are quite troublesome. The child belongs to the side where he was born. Uchiha Jiri said without hesitation, I believe that the relationship between the three tribes will be closer, and hatred and estrangement will be completely eliminated, and peace will be truly achieved. What do you think? Yeah, at that time, they will all be her son's cattle and horses. Okay. Then it's settled. Although Uzumaki Mito knew that Uchiha Yuri must have other plans, no matter what, Senju and Uzumaki would not lose. In addition, rescuing Uzumaki does require the power of Uchiha, so she nodded in agreement. However, marriage cannot be forced. At that time, we can hold some blind dates regularly among the three tribes, and then the younger generation can choose for themselves. As long as the number of people marrying out and marrying in is relatively balanced. How about it? Uzumaki Mito patched it up. Okay. Uchiha Yuri naturally had no reason to disagree. She was also afraid that too many Uchiha women would marry out. Who doesn't know how many handsome men and beautiful women there are in the Uchiha clan? When you are sure you want to rescue, just notify me in advance. I will send someone to rescue with you. Uchiha promised. Okay. Uzumaki Mito nodded and breathed a sigh of relief. Now that this matter is confirmed, she can breathe a sigh of relief. With the intervention of Uchiha, plus the power of Senju and the whirlpool itself, even if the four villages attack together, they can repel them and escort the whirlpool clan to settle in Konoha. Anyway, the four major ninja villages cannot send a large force into the country of whirlpools. At most, they can send some elite troops to raid. Next, Uzumaki Mito and Uchiha continued to chat. Tsunade also pulled Xuanqing to continue to discuss and exchange medical knowledge and experience. At noon, Uzumaki Mito also treated Xuanqing and others to a lunch, and the two sides said goodbye and left. Seeing Uchiha and others leave, the third generation received the news immediately, and the third generation hurried to Uzumaki Mito's home. As for Danzo and the others, they didn't dare to come over. They were afraid of being punished. As soon as they came in, Sarutobi Hiruzen sensed that Uzumaki Mito's vitality, which was originally getting weaker, had recovered more than double. At this rate, he could probably live for several more years. Although they had a bad feeling and felt uncomfortable, on the surface, the third generation still asked respectfully and curiously. Lord Mito, how did the talk go? Will there be any trouble with Uchiha? Also, your vitality seems to have recovered a lot. Is it the work of Uchiha Zhili? Not bad. Uzumaki Mito nodded affirmatively. I reached some deals with Uchiha Zhili. They helped me recover some vitality, which can let me live a few more years. As a price, they asked for Flying Thunder God technique, Tobarama's water-style ninjutsu and some low-level sealing techniques. Finally, there are conditions for Uchiha Xuanqing, the son of Zhili, to become Tsunade's apprentice. These cannot be hidden, and there is no need to hide them. Uzumaki Mito naturally said it directly. As for the third generation's opinions, that was also suppressed. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed drastically after hearing this. Did she give me the Flying Thunder God technique, the teacher's water-style ninjutsu, and even the sealing technique? She also asked her son to become Tsunade's apprentice. What exactly does she want to do? Is she still eyeing the position of Hokage? Also, I remember that her son has a hard time becoming a ninja because of his congenital deficiency. Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that things were a little out of his control. This feeling was not good. She has fully recovered. Uzumaki Mito shook her head. Even Uchiha Yuri's serious problem can be fully recovered. Why do you think Uchiha Xuanqing's situation can't be recovered? Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned. So, Uchiha Yuri has really recovered completely. That's right. Uzumaki Mito nodded affirmatively. Not only her body, but also her remaining Sharingan has fully recovered. So, don't provoke her, even now I may not be her opponent. This is a lie. She is naturally not inferior to Uchiha Yuri with her vitality fully recovered. But what she showed to the outside world at this time is only that she has recovered part of her vitality. Of course, she can't reveal the truth. Chapter 37. Udatain Kaharu angrily scolds Danzo, and Danzo is frustrated 3/6. So strong. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned even more after hearing this. What do you think? Uzumaki Mito glanced at the third generation and said, you know that she was able to quell the Uchiha civil strife and suppress the entire Uchiha clan by herself. How could she do it without sufficient strength? As for Uchiha Xuanqing's apprenticeship to Tsunade, don't think too much about it. She just wanted to find a backer and guarantee for Uchiha Xuanqing, so that his growth process would be smoother and prevent some rats in the dark from reaching out to Xuanqing. Could it be that relying on a mere disciple of Tsunade, the grandson of the Hokage, can he really become the Hokage? You are not dead. If Xuanqing really won the position of Hokage in this way, he deserved it. If you are a waste, you can't blame others. At present, Uzumaki Mito would rather have Xuanqing become Hokage than Sarutobi Hiruzen continue to be Hokage. Relying on the master-disciple relationship between Xuanqing and Tsunade, plus the alliance with Uchiha and the future marriage plan. Even if Xuanqing becomes Hokage, it will only be better for the Senju and the Uzumaki clan than it is now, not worse. At least, Uchiha does not need to consolidate its power and establish its authority by suppressing the big ninja clan. Only small ninja clans like Sarutobi Hiruzen who are not strong enough and lack self-confidence need to do this. Well, the Sarutobi clan can't actually be considered a small ninja clan. It can be regarded as a medium-sized ninja clan. Mainly because of the large number of people. But this ninja clan does not have any other specialties and advantages. Relatively mediocre. It's just that they were very good at being human and winning people's hearts in the past. They have always shown themselves to be law-abiding and obedient good people to the outside world. This is also the reason why they can be appreciated and recognized by the first generation and the second generation. But since the third generation became Hokage, everything has changed. The third generation obviously did not know that Uzumaki Mito's bias had completely changed. Hearing Uzumaki Mito's meaningful words, he immediately realized that she should be talking about Danzo. You are right, I understand. I will restrain Danzo and be cautious with Uchiha in the future. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first. Sarutobi Hiruzen considered for a while and respectfully Kaido. Indeed, Uchiha's desire to win the position of Hokage just by being a disciple of Tsunade is completely wishful thinking. He will not allow it. Well, go. Uzumaki Mito had nothing to say to him, and waved his hand directly, indicating that the third generation could get out. The third generation immediately left quickly. When he returned to the Hokage's office, Danzo and the other two surrounded them and asked impatiently, how was it? What did they talk about? Has Uchiha Zhili really recovered completely? Yes. The third generation nodded affirmatively and immediately repeated Uzumaki Mito's words verbatim. What? Damn it. After hearing this, Danzo roared angrily, how could Lord Mito do this? He actually used Flying Thunder God technique, the teacher's water-style ninjutsu and sealing technique to trade with Uchiha. Isn't this courting death? What qualifications does she have to do this? Danzo was furious. After getting these things, Uchiha's strength will definitely be further improved. Especially in terms of sealing techniques. In the future, once Uchiha uses some sealing techniques in the clan land. In the future, it will be impossible for them to easily monitor the situation in the Uchiha clan land. Flying Thunder God technique is a strategic level ninjutsu. Once it is learned by the Uchiha people, it will be even more difficult for Uchiha to deal with it in the future. With this, it will be extremely difficult to destroy Uchiha. Well, Lord Mito is naturally qualified. Because these ninjutsu belong to the teacher and the senju. Although the teacher recorded them all in the sealed book or opened them to the village's ninjutsu library, there must be a copy left in the senju. Uchiha Kaharu looked at Danzo speechlessly. Do you want to hear what you are saying? If Uzumaki Mito is not qualified to handle his own things, who else is qualified? You. Danzo was speechless and his face turned red with anger. Kaharu, which side are you on? Are you really angry with him? Is this a question of whether you are qualified or not? This is aiding the enemy. Have the Senju forgotten that Uchiha is their 1,000-year-old enemy? Tisk. Uchiha Kaharu curled his lips in disdain, just telling the truth. Besides, Lord Mito has already completed the deal, what's the point of you opposing it here? You. Danzo wanted to kill someone. Today Kaharu's mouth is like, smeared with honey, how annoying it is. Alright, Danzo. At this time, the third generation interrupted the farce of the two and warned Danzo, anyway, this is the situation. Lady Mito has also recovered a lot of vitality through the transaction. I feel that she can hold on for a few more years. In the next few years, we may have to restrain our methods against Senju and even Uchiha. Otherwise, things will be very troublesome. In addition, at this point, he looked at Danzo and warned, Danzo, Uchiha Xuanqing is already Tsunade's disciple, don't go after him. Otherwise, if you anger Uchiha Zhili and Lady Mito, even I can't protect you. He felt that it was necessary to warn Danzo in advance. Sure enough, Danzo listened, his eyes flickered and said, it's not that serious, right? It's really serious. The third generation listened, and said seriously, this is part of the deal between Mito-sama and Uchiha Zhili. If you do something to him, you will definitely be hit by the thunder of the two of them. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Okay, I know. Danzo listened, although he was very unhappy, but still nodded and agreed. I won't touch this kid for the time being. He still felt very sorry. Because, since he knew that Uchiha Zhili might have recovered, he has been thinking about how to target and attack Uchiha Zhili. In the end, his eyes were also locked on Uchiha Xuanqing. Unexpectedly, before he started to make trouble, the other party's countermeasures had already come. He felt that he was completely seen through and was very frustrated. What a powerful woman. No wonder she was able to suppress the Uchiha for so long. But if this person doesn't die, it will be difficult for me to continue to target the Uchiha and obtain more Sharingan. Damn it. Danzo thought angrily. Okay. At this time, the third generation interrupted Danzo's random thoughts and lit a pipe. While smoking, he pondered, this is almost the end of the matter. Now we should consider the problem of the Uzumaki clan. Now, Lord Mito has recovered a lot. Should we send a large force to support the Uzumaki clan in the future? Or should we continue with the original plan? Although, the Uzumaki Mito he saw only recovered a small part of her vitality, and she should not have much spare energy to fight. But considering Uzumaki Mito's powerful sealing technique and scheming, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know if this was all. If Uzumaki Mito hid, she had actually recovered to her peak. If they still plan to do this, then they will probably suffer the thunderous revenge of Uzumaki Mito. The consequences are not something they can bear. At this time, Uzumaki Mito's prestige in the village is still very high. It is a bit exaggerated to say that one call can get 100 responses, but it is not much different. Senju's influence has not faded yet. By then, if she wants, he, the Hokage, may be dismissed and forced to step down. Chapter 38. The difficulty of flying Thunder God technique, the necessity of practicing water style, 4/6. This. Udatain Kaharu and Mitokado Homura hesitated for a moment after hearing this. It seems that it is really inappropriate to continue doing this. It is easy for Uzumaki Mito to settle accounts with him later. Why not? But the stubborn Danzo sneered, what's wrong with us making such a choice from the perspective of the village's interests? Didn't we remind the Uzumaki clan to move their entire clan to join Konoha? It was Uzumaki Amanari who disagreed. Afterwards, even if they were destroyed, how could they blame us? Besides, we can't be sure when other ninja villages will take action. Even if they will take action, they can only send a small group of elite troops to raid. It will definitely be a thunderbolt. It will definitely be too late when we send a large force to rescue. Or should we send a large force to station near the Whirlpool country in advance and be on guard at all times? Did they have such a big face? Danzo is obviously very dissatisfied and disdainful of the Uzumaki clan's ignorant behavior. Idiots who can't see the situation clearly deserve to be exterminated. However, those sealing techniques cannot be given to other villages. Otherwise, the Jinchuriki of those villages will be truly formed. Indeed, Mitokado Homura also had to admit that what Danzo said made sense. The Uzumaki clan committed suicide, what can they do? They have done their best. How about sending a small group of elite troops to support them? At this time, the third generation spoke again. In the near future, we can let some elite troops, including the elite of Anbu and Root, prepare and be ready to support at any time. I guess that when the time comes, Lord Mito will definitely send the remaining elite of Senju to support them as soon as possible. We can work with them. During the rescue, how much effort we put in is our own business. In this way, even if we fail to save the Uzumaki clan in the end, Lord Mito can't blame us. What do you think? Anyway, according to the news sent back by spies and intelligence in recent days, the other 4 major ninja villages are about to take action in the near future. No matter what, the Uzumaki clan's sealing technique heritage must be brought back, and it can't really fall into the hands of other ninja villages. You detain Kaharu. Okay. Mitokado Homura, agreed. Danzo listened, especially when he heard that Uzumaki Mito might send the remaining elite of the Senju clan. His eyes flashed, and he had some ideas in his mind. But on the surface, he was still reluctant and said, then let's do it. Okay. Then this is settled. Xuanqing in his side. After returning home, Uchiha Zhili waved and took out the scrolls of ninjutsu and sealing techniques and said to Xuanqing and Makoto, the ninjutsu and sealing techniques of this transaction are all here, you can choose some to learn. Yes. Xuanqing smiled and nodded, and immediately stepped forward to pick up the scroll of Flying Thunder God technique and took a quick look. Then, he frowned and said, sure enough, this thing still requires a certain foundation of sealing techniques to learn. It seems that I can only put it aside and learn sealing techniques first. Then, he read all the water-style ninjutsu again and memorized them. Then, he unsealed the super large scroll of sealing techniques and continued to read it. He planned to memorize all of them first. Then he would practice slowly later. Auntie, can I do it too? Uchiha Makoto listened, but pointed at himself with a surprised look, and asked Uchiha Zhili. Of course. Uchiha Yuri smiled knowingly. You call me auntie, and you have signed a contract with Xuanqing, so of course you can't be left out. Auntie also hopes that you can grow up as soon as possible so that you can help Xuanqing. So, study hard. Learn as much as you can. However, don't be greedy at the beginning. Choose a few to learn first. After you master it this time, learn more. Don't bite off too much and delay the improvement of your strength. Yes. Thank you, auntie. Makoto nodded with emotion after hearing this, and immediately took up the scroll of Flying Thunder God technique under the encouraging eyes of Uchiha Yuri. Similarly, she gave up soon and frowned. This is too difficult, it's not suitable for me to learn for the time being, I'd better learn the sealing technique first. As for water style, she doesn't have water attributes, so there is no need to learn it for the time being. Just follow your idea. Uchiha Yuri naturally had no objection, took the Flying Thunder God technique, and said while looking at it, is this Flying Thunder God technique really so troublesome? Let me see. After a while, she rubbed her eyebrows with her fingers and put the scroll down. It is indeed quite troublesome. Fortunately, Senju Tobarama was able to create it. In terms of ninjutsu creativity, he is indeed a monster. She had to admire this. Then, she picked up a water-style ninjutsu scroll and started reading it, muttering, as for water style, I will often go to the pirate world in the future, so it is necessary to learn some. It can play an unexpected effect on the sea. Especially against demon fruit power. Makoto was slightly stunned after hearing this and said, then should I also learn a few water styles? Don't worry. Uchiha Yuri shook his head. You are still young and don't have water attributes, let's talk about it later. Just practice fire style and lightning style and sealing techniques first. In addition to taijutsu, haki and health-preserving exercises, your time is almost full. Don't force it. Wait until you grandmaster a form change of escape technique and nature transformation. This way, it will not delay the rapid growth of strength. Yes. Makoto nodded immediately. It does make sense. Xuanqing, what are your plans next? Uchiha Yuri couldn't help asking while looking at the water-style ninjutsu scroll. Me. After hearing this, Xuanqing looked up at his mother, then lowered his head to memorize the knowledge of sealing techniques while considering Kaido. Let's go to Gunkanjima first and get the dragon bones so that we can make longevity medicine. After that, we will go to Kokoja Island and Windmill Village to get to know some talented children with potential. Finally, we will go to Shimotsuki Village to learn the swordsmanship of the pirate world. At that time, you may still have to open the map or even accompany me. His plan for his next step is Chakra, ninjutsu, taijutsu, bodybuilding, and swordsmanship all need to be practiced. Of course, health-preserving exercises cannot be left behind. But this can be added after meals as a digestion exercise. In this way, it can not only save a lot of time, but also promote digestion and absorption, enhance vitality and life source, and increase lifespan. Kill two birds with one stone. Is that so? Sure. Uchiha Zhili listened and nodded in understanding. Just right, Mom has already lit up the map of Logue Town yesterday, I forgot to tell you. Then we can set off directly from Logue Town. I remember you said that Gunkanjima is not far from Logue Town, right? Yeah. Xuanqing nodded affirmatively. It's not far, it should be within a day's voyage. Speaking of which, it's really inconvenient to open the map without a flying mount. Mom, haven't you found a suitable flying mount yet? If there is a flying mount, the speed will be much faster. Otherwise, it's unknown how long it will take to light up all these small islands. Too slow. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audio Wave. Chapter 39. Uchiha Chakra Refining Technique completed, Chakra volume increased 5/6. There are already some clues. Uchiha Zhili shook his head. During this period, we have sent people to investigate the news in this regard. 3 days ago, the news came back from the country of Kawano that a giant eagle ninja beast had been found. If everything goes well, it should be brought back in the next 2 days. However, there is another problem here. Can the ninja beast be taken directly to the pirate world? Or does it also need to be bound by a contract? Does it also need to cultivate your favorability with this ninjutsu? If it is necessary, it will take some time. Xuanqing was slightly stunned after hearing this and said, it depends on the degree of wisdom. If you have complete wisdom, you need to cultivate favorability. If you don't have a complete consciousness, you can force a contract or directly use the space-time gate as a transit. This restriction is actually to protect Xuanqing's safety. Otherwise, it is easy to go wrong. If you don't take it across the world, but just put it into the space-time gate space, there are not so many restrictions. As long as it loses its ability to resist, it can be put into the space-time gate space. This point was proved when Rayleigh was asked to hunt Sea Kings last time. You know, the higher the level of Sea Kings, the more complete their wisdom. Those super Sea Kings that are over 1,000 meters long even have their own complete language, and can understand human language and communicate. Then you probably have to cultivate the favorability of this ninja eagle first. Because, ninja beasts basically have complete wisdom, and some can even speak human language directly. Uchiha Zhili reminded. Well, then cultivate it when the time comes. Xuanqing nodded in understanding. Ninja beasts are not humans, their minds are simpler, and their favorability is easier to improve. When the time comes, I will feed it more Sea King's meat or nutritional pills, and it should be able to meet the binding requirements soon. It would be great if humans were that simple. That's right. Uchiha Zhili nodded. Then let's do it. A few hours later. Xuanqing finally read all the sealing techniques and related knowledge he had obtained this time. Even Flying Thunder God technique was read through, and all the knowledge and information was memorized in the mind. Of course, if you want to learn everything, it will take a lot of time. After dinner, Xuanqing officially began to practice chakra. This was the first time he practiced chakra since he successfully awakened his talent after extracting chakra for the first time. During this extraction, Xuanqing found that the whole process was extremely smooth. It was far less difficult than before. Moreover, with just a little extraction, a lot of chakra was easily synthesized. The energy contained in each cell is more than dozens or even hundreds of times more than a month ago. After another successful extraction, Xuanqing did not stop, and continued to practice chakra refining technique and the skill of counting breaths to raise his chakra limit. You have practiced chakra refining, proficiency +30, chakra +10. You have practiced chakra refining, proficiency +40, chakra +10. You have practiced chakra refining, proficiency +52, chakra +12. As proficiency continues to increase, Xuanqing's utilization rate and extraction efficiency of cell energy are constantly rising. The amount of chakra that can be extracted and synthesized each time is also increasing. The amount of chakra in the body is also constantly rising. There is a saying that the amount of chakra of a ninja is certain to a certain extent, and it cannot be increased by ordinary practice. When you are proficient in extracting energy from each cell to synthesize chakra. If you want to increase the chakra limit in the future, you can only rely on the body to increase the amount of chakra as you grow older. Or, You can increase the amount of chakra by tempering your body, strengthening cells, and increasing the capacity of its cell energy. Of course, mental strength also needs to be improved simultaneously. However, the arduous physical training process itself will also drive the growth of mental strength. It's just not obvious enough. The body, soul and mental strength have always been complementary. Xuanqing was obviously still far from being able to quickly extract energy from every cell to synthesize chakra. Therefore, his chakra amount was still rising. 0.1 card, 0.2 card, 0.5 card, 1 card, until 1.5 card, he stopped refining chakra. At this time, his chakra refining technique had already been perfected. Uchiha Chakra Refining Technique 29,851 100,000ths perfect. With the blessing of his understanding and talent, he improved very quickly. Of course, it was also because the chakra refining technique itself was relatively simple. It seems that it will take a few days to be completely perfect and then break the limit. I just don't know what kind of skills can be realized after this chakra refining technique breaks the limit. Directly cultivate immortality, or a more sharp chakra refining technique. Xuanqing couldn't help thinking as he looked at his panel information. Immortal cultivation is unlikely. The span cannot be so large. Chakra refining does not involve absorbing natural energy. Perhaps, if the immortal art practice method breaks the limit, it may be sublimated and enlightened into sage art. Xuanqing guessed. And immortal art practice method. Wet Bone Forest should have it. He has already become Tsunade's apprentice, and he can find an opportunity to ask for Katsuyu's summoning contract qualification later. Then, ask Katsuyu Sage to learn at the right time. Of course, Xuanqing hopes to create immortal arts and even immortal cultivation methods suitable for humans in the future. Rather than this half-baked, demon cultivation method. God knows if there will be any hidden dangers if this kind of practice continues. Just look at Jiraiya and others practicing Mount Myoboku's immortal art, and they will have toad characteristics. This is not normal. Next is chakra control training. Shaking off the many thoughts in his mind, Xuanqing walked out of the room directly and came to a big tree next to the small training ground in the backyard. He tried to gather a certain amount of chakra under his feet, and then walked towards the tree trunk. Crack! The bark and part of the trunk shattered as he stepped on it. Apparently he had used too much chakra. Xuanqing quickly reduced the chakra output and tried again. This time, he succeeded. At the same time, a new skill appeared on Xuanqing's attribute panel. Chakra Control 1/100th entry level. Closing square bracket. The moment the skill took shape, some related insights directly flooded into Xuanqing's mind. He had long been accustomed to it, and he digested and understood the information instantly. Then, he took another step, and both feet stood firmly on the tree trunk. Then, step by step, he climbed up regardless. You have conducted chakra control training, chakra control proficiency +3. You have conducted chakra control training, chakra control proficiency +3. You have conducted chakra control training, chakra control proficiency +4. When Xuanqing climbed to the top of the tree, his control over chakra had greatly increased, and climbing trees was no longer a problem for him. His chakra control skills also successfully reached the proficient level. I have improved so fast. This is my true talent and understanding. In the past, I was completely dragged down by my congenital deficiency. Xuanqing became more and more addicted to his practice, and it felt so good. Unlike in the past, he had to be very careful when exercising his body, for fear of hurting himself. The first time he extracted chakra, he was very careful and nervous, for fear of accidentally killing himself. Of course, before his memory and talent awakened, his understanding and mental power were not so strong. It was only after awakening the memory of the previous life and superimposing the souls and mental power of two lives that it appeared. This point has been verified long ago. Standing on the top of the tree, looking at the entire Uchiha clan territory and even the dimly lit Konoha in the distance, Xuanqing was somewhat high-spirited. His road to becoming a strong man began from then on. Chapter 40. Mastering the skill of seal binding. The third generation wants me to go to school. 6/6. Xuanqing, it's late. Rest first. It's not too late to practice tomorrow. You can't ignore it just because you're feeling better. At this time, Uchiha Zhili had stood under the tree without knowing when, and looked up at Xuanqing, who was standing on the top of the tree, to remind him. She was very pleased that her child was willing to work hard, but she couldn't ignore her body. The whole process of Xuanqing's chakra extraction was actually under her perception and attention. If she hadn't seen that Xuanqing's extraction process was very smooth, and his proficiency in chakra refining was also soaring, without hurting his body or overdosing, she would have stopped Xuanqing at that time. Okay, Mom, I'll come down right away. Xuanqing looked down in astonishment, saw his mother with her hands on her waist, stuck out her tongue, and quickly ran down from the tree. When he was more than 1 meter from the ground, he jumped down and landed steadily in front of his mother. He touched the back of his head a little embarrassedly and said, "Hee. I forgot the time. It's mainly because the chakra extraction was too smooth, much simpler than I thought." Yeah, Uchiha Zhili nodded without comment, reached out and touched his head and said, "Okay. Go and rest." Yes. Immediately, Xuanqing went to rest. The next morning, after having breakfast made of sea king's meat with his mother and Makoto, Xuanqing and the other two began to practice health-preserving exercises in the small training ground in the backyard. You eat sea king's meat to assist in practicing health-preserving exercises, proficiency +10, lifespan +9, life essence +0.03. It will take some time for the health-preserving exercises to break through to perfection. I think the effect of improving lifespan will be better by then. I am looking forward to it. I just don't know what it will be like after breaking through the limit. After practicing the health-preserving exercises 5 times in the morning and digesting most of the food in the stomach, Xuanqing stopped. First, he took a shower, then returned to the backyard, while occasionally instructing his mother and Makoto on the key points of the health-preserving exercises. He practiced the seals. There is no rush to practice ninjutsu. First improve the chakra control and the proficiency and speed of the seals. Sharpening the knife does not delay the chopping of wood. There is no rush in the next 1 or 2 days. The time saved will be earned back in time. You practiced the seal and successfully entered the skill of seal. Seal proficiency +1. You practiced the seal proficiency +2. You practiced the seal proficiency +3. Perhaps it was because Xuanqing's physical talent after recovery was better, or perhaps it was because of the practice of health-preserving exercises. The body coordination was also very good, plus the physique and understanding were also strong. Xuanqing's seal growth rate was also very fast. It began to improve at a speed visible to the naked eye. Half an hour later, Uchiha Zhili and Makoto completed the morning health-preserving exercises one after another, and Xuanqing's seal proficiency also broke through the entry stage and entered the proficient stage. Not only was it difficult to make mistakes in the seal, but the seal speed also reached the level of 2 seals per second. It was pretty good. Knock, knock, knock. At this time, the front yard was filled with the voices of the whisperers and Tsunade. "Master Chiri, little Xuanqing, are you home?" Huh. Xuanqing and the others were stunned. "Tsunade. Let's go see what she wants." Immediately, Uchiha Zhili called Xuanqing and Makoto to the front yard, opened the door, and welcomed Tsunade in. "Come in and sit down." "No, thank you, Master Chiri." Tsunade waved her hand and said, "I have other things to do with Xuanqing today, so I won't come in and sit down." "Oh, what's the matter?" Uchiha Zhili and Xuanqing asked curiously. "That," Tsunade said a little embarrassedly, "yesterday my teacher, the 3rd generation, asked me to go to the Hokage's office. He already knew that I accepted Xuanqing as my apprentice. So, he wanted me to take Xuanqing to meet his master. In addition, he probably hopes that Xuanqing can go to the ninja school. Although, I think with Xuanqing's knowledge, it's a complete waste of time to go there. From the medical skills she exchanged with Xuanqing yesterday, Xuanqing's medical skills are better than hers. What can the ninja school teach him with this kind of understanding and IQ? It is estimated that he can learn and fully master what the school teaches in a few days, right? But she can't do anything about her teacher's request. After all, he is Hokage. At the same time, she also roughly understands that her teacher wants Xuanqing to go to school to accept his brainwashing of the will of fire. Unfortunately, teacher, you may have made a wrong idea. With Xuanqing's intelligence, he is not someone you can brainwash. Tsunade thought with some gloating in her heart. She will not tell the third generation about this. She has no good impression of the third generation now. If the time is not yet ripe, she would have wanted to turn against the third generation. The old thing is full of calculations, and he is still fooling me and brainwashing me. Why doesn't he die? Huh. Hearing this, Xuanqing was speechless and said, forget about the ninja school. That kind of playhouse school is meaningless. It's not as good as our reformed clan school. Besides, my schedule is full now, and there are too many things I need to learn and practice. I don't have the time at all. Although, he is also interested in learning to meet a few talents, brush up his favorability, and facilitate contracts. But he doesn't want to waste too much time. Then don't go. Tsunade was also stunned, and felt that what Xuanqing said made sense. Especially sensing that Xuanqing already had a lot of chakra in his body at this time. Roughly judging, the total amount is probably not less than that of an ordinary Jonin. She clearly remembered that Xuanqing only had a tiny trace of chakra in his body yesterday, and it was obvious that he had just started practicing chakra. As a result, after one day, the change was so big. He is obviously a super genius in chakra. The ninja school really can't teach him. It's better to let her come to teach alone. She can pass on her ninjutsu, including super strength and medical ninjutsu, to Xuanqing. By the way, it is also convenient for her to exchange medical knowledge with Xuanqing. It is a win-win situation. No, I still have to go. Without waiting for Xuanqing to speak, Uchiha Zhili stretched out her hand and pressed Xuanqing's head and said, Xuanqing, you should meet the third generation first, enroll formally, and get to know more classmates. When you feel that you can't learn anything from school, you can separate Shadow Clone to go to school. Or, let Tsunade greet the school and third generation for you, and then go to learn medical ninjutsu from Tsunade. Uchiha Zhili has not thought about graduating early. In her opinion, Xuanqing's strength at this time is far from enough. She will not allow Xuanqing to graduate early and become a formal ninja. In that case, Sarutobi Hiruzen might arrange Xuanqing to go out of the village to perform tasks. Plus the old dog Danzo who is secretly eyeing him. It's too early for Xuanqing now, it's too dangerous. Let's talk about this when Xuanqing has absolute self-protection ability. Tsunade, what do you think? Uchiha Zhili said, looking up at Tsunade. Of course there is no problem here. I'm looking forward to it. Then it's settled. He. Tsunade quickly agreed happily. Isn't this what she wants? Master Zhili is so considerate. Then, both of them looked at Xuanqing, and asked with unquestionable faces, Xuanqing, what do you think? Xuanqing. With this look, does he have any choice? Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audio Wave to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.